this was with this queen. I need a nice girl to go to. I gotta make moves. I need the right girl if it goes wrong. The game plan got all groove. I'ma hold up you if you hold down. From the streets to the sky to the moon. I'ma hold up you if you hold down to me. Cause I wanna hold on, darling, lovingly. I wanna hold all night from when you close to me. She wanna hold on me. I wanna hold my queen. I wanna hold on, darling, lovingly. I wanna hold on and X all your dreams. Is it a go? 100x everything. You get the night that you want. You get the light that you need. Just gotta hold on to me like I do with you. Cause I wanna hold on, darling, lovingly. I wanna hold all night from when you're close to me. She wanna hold on me. I wanna hold my queen. I wanna hold on, darling, lovingly. I wanna hold. What you hold inside is so right. And when you hold me tight, and when you hold me tight, and when you know it's right, and what you hold inside goes so right. Cause I wanna hold queen, yeah. She wanna know, is it me, yeah. Cause I wanna hold every thought and every dream. And she wanna know, is it real? Cause I wanna hold on, darling, lovingly. I wanna hold all night from when you're close to me. She wanna hold on me. I wanna hold my queen. I wanna hold on, darling, lovingly. I wanna hold on for me, hold on me, hold on for me, hold on me, hold on me, hold on for 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 me, lovingly. 'Cause I wanna.
Since the creation of the internet, every industry has been turned upside down. Amazon changed retail. Uber changed transportation. YouTube changed video forever. With the invention of crypto, money is next. At the speed technology is growing, the future of money and securities are digital. 9 out of 10 millennials do not trust banks. The value of money relies on trust. Government debt is higher than it's ever been before. Central banks continue to print money. Fortunately, the world has a new solution. Experts predict in 7 years, 10% of the world's economy will be in crypto-based assets. Today, 1 billion people have access to the financial industry. Crypto is about empowering the other 6 billion people by banking the unbanked. Do not underestimate this. Do you wish you invested in Google, Amazon, or Netflix before anyone ever knew about them? $1,000 invested in Netflix turned to over $500,000. At Token Metrics, we help you find the next Netflix. Token Metrics users think differently about investing. They are early adopters looking for financial freedom. They are people who see a better world. A world without international borders. We believe in a world where everyone has access to the next financial revolution. At Token Metrics, we are creating a bridge that gets you to that revolution. We will help you make sound investments in this new world. The world's best investors do not rely on their intuition. They embrace technology and AI to invest. Token Metrics uses AI to find invisible patterns in data to help you invest and trade in crypto. In the past, we have used our data-driven system to achieve financial freedom. Now, we are giving you the keys. We created Token Metrics to be the only platform you'll ever need to make money in crypto. We give you AI and access to crypto experts at the best price. The moon is not the limit. To the moon and beyond.
Disclaimer. Token Metrics Media LLC does not provide individually tailored investment advice and does not take a subscriber's or anyone's personal circumstance into consideration when discussing investments, nor is it registered as an investment advisor or broker-dealer in any jurisdiction. Information contained herein is not an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any security. The Token Metrics team has advised and invested in many blockchain companies. A complete list of their advisory roles and current holdings can be viewed here at tokenmetrics.com/disclosures.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Oh man, what a crazy week. This is going to be a heck of a show. Don't worry. Token Metrics is here. Crypto family is here. We're here through probably one of the biggest downturns in crypto since the pandemic. And we're here to answer all your questions. So basically, as the title of the show says, Bitcoin crashed, altcoins crashed, stocks crashed. What should you do? Should you buy the dip? Should you hodl? Should you go to the sidelines? Well, we're here. Bill is here, and we'll give you our analysis and our commentary. With that being said, Bill, how are you?
Ian, hi. I survived the weekend. I'm doing okay. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, I mean, crazy weekend. I mean, so what were you thinking as kind of the whole fiasco was happening? Because it wasn't just crypto, it was stocks, almost everything.
Okay, so that's a great question. So here's a little bit of backstory. So 2 weeks ago, I noticed some warning signs in equities, and the froth or the hype in equities had just gotten ridiculous. So ridiculous that fear indexes were rising as prices were rising. Okay. Then crypto made this big move, and you noted that, Uniswap volume became bigger than Coinbase volume. Now, when I heard that, I set the thing with equities aside, and I thought that meant the bid in crypto would switch over into the bigger coins like the stuff on Coinbase. All right. When what actually happened was, when Uniswap passed Coinbase, that was like the sign of the ultimate FOMO, unfortunately, right? And then I don't know if you've ever done this or if anybody who's out there has ever traded, this has ever happened, but as soon as I put the newsletter out, like as soon as it hit the presses, I was like, oh no, this is wrong. Because we had a lot of work that showed like the big coins in crypto should have gone up. And as the rule goes, if something should go up and it doesn't, what's it going to do?
Go down.
Of course, in the crypto universe, it means the bottom's going to fall out. So I had to rework all the analysis quickly, right? Because when equities turned, crypto went with it, right? And crypto became like this vicious cycle. So for example, everyone likes it when something in crypto moons, when it goes from 50 cents to $5. Well, that happens because there's no sellers, right? There's no short sellers. Then in this situation, when the market comes down like this, there's no short sellers to buy the market. So it kind of free falls. So what goes up one way can come back down the same way. All right. And believe me when I tell you, trying to use the premium chat room that we have to keep our customers updated, essentially saying, okay, take that last report, throw it out the window, and here's the new plan.
Mhm.
So I was like on a sailboat and a storm came and I had to run to the other side of the boat to change the sails to pick up the wind. At the end of the day, this looks like a really classic flush, right? Like people did get wrecked and our heart does go out to them.
Yeah.
But this is an ideal value investing environment. So that's how I give you like the overall big picture.
Yeah. I mean, so I would say definitely textbook value investor time. But first off, just want to say thank you, Bill. I mean, you were burning the midnight oil, working pretty much all day just to make sure that our customers were just having information, because the market was moving so fast and people had so many questions because whether it was TA or the price predictions. So first of all, just thank you, Bill, for working on weekends. I mean, because it felt like you were in the private chat almost 24/7, just answering questions. Now, kind of my perspective on this. Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I have two takes, right? The first take is with the price prediction models and the indices, and the other take is just kind of in general with the market, right? So kind of beginning big picture first. Since beginning of August, when our monthly price prediction indices basically said they were putting half of their money into stablecoins, that's when we said, okay, you know what? It looks like we're really getting too bullish right now, right? Because basically, I would say since August, but also with TA, we've been telling people to take profits, and that's something we'll keep on telling people, especially when things keep on going up. You definitely want to take some money off the table. So if you happen to take profits in the last few months, definitely kind of pat yourself on the back, because that's definitely a good sign. If you weren't able to take profits, that's definitely unfortunate. And we're here to kind of just guide you and just try to really give you a way forward, going forward, right? Because when the market corrects 40%, 60%, after it's been going up like 5x, 10x, having that perspective, it's not so bad, right? But that being said, though, we know lots of people, lots of newbies entered crypto and maybe didn't take profits. Or we know lots of new people entered the space a month ago and bought the top, right? So we're here to kind of really give you guidance and try to figure out a way forward, right? Now, in terms of the indices, quite frankly, I am also pretty upset with myself, because the price prediction indices for a second month in a row basically had half of the portfolio in stablecoins, to a point where lots of people began kind of complaining to us, telling us why they're paying for an index to have stablecoins. And I'm upset with myself because I allowed a few people to kind of, well, I would say I allowed some people, right, part of our customer base, to influence us to take out the price prediction accuracy filter to kind of be less strict, because we felt, okay, maybe the index is being way too strict and it's not really letting people partake in this bull run. But shortly after, 2 days later, the market just goes, and we were like, damn, that index was right. But unfortunately, we had changed it, and now it had almost all altcoins, right? So definitely my fault on that. I basically sometimes should not try to override the AI. But with that being said, though, I think in general, we can probably do, I think on this live stream, we'll go through and try to kind of show people how we view the market using token metrics, right? Because first of all, the AI is good. Pretty much almost every index we have is still outperforming the market and Bitcoin. And then we've also made a major update, because lots of people kind of getting feedback from our audience. Lots of people were saying that the ROIs on some indices began earlier because we had different dates for Bitcoin and different dates for everything. So as a result, last week we also have normalized all the indices to begin at pretty much around the same dates. So as opposed to beginning from April, they all begin either end of June or beginning first week of July. So now it's easier to track the ROI. So everything now kind of begins from zero and it's easier to track. But in general, just to kind of go back up to a value investor approach, now is the best time to buy. I mean, now I'm not saying go out there and buy ASAP, but I'm saying now is when you really want to start looking to buy, right? Because we already have some cryptocurrencies that have bounced back. So for example, a cryptocurrency we talked about earlier, I would say last month, UMA, which was a cryptocurrency our team is pretty bullish on from a tech perspective. Now, I'm not saying it's the best technology out there, but in terms of what it's doing in the DeFi space, it's one of the more interesting DeFi projects to keep an eye on. And ever since we talked about it, then Coinbase kind of announced that they were planning to list it, because UMA has done a 16x. Then during the crash this week, when I saw it pull back, because I think one day it dropped 48%. And I was like, holy cow, right? Because I've been looking to possibly get into UMA. When I saw that, I'm like, okay, hopefully it keeps on getting lower and lower, and maybe I'll get in. But today it's basically a top coin. So today it's bounced back. Let me just pull up the ratings here real quick. So just checking Token Metrics today. So if we come in here to Token Metrics, so in general, from a TA perspective, monthly TA, most of the altcoins and most cryptos were still bearish on, but the few cryptocurrencies we're bullish on at the moment are the ones that have really gone up, right? So we see UMA, Token Metrics TA is bullish on it, and it's up almost 35% today, right? So it looks like lots of buyers have swooped in to buy the dip. Now, whether this is just a temporary dead cow bounce or whether crypto keeps on mooning, or who knows, but I think in general, looking at this list, these projects actually do, at least to me, I think these are pretty decent projects, because UMA and Cello, I believe is how it's pronounced, both of these coins were added on Coinbase, right? So these coins definitely do have good fundamentals, and it's very interesting that they have kind of already bounced very quickly, right? And it's also pretty cool that the TA was able to pick that up. But in general, I think people have to really have a value investor approach, right? Because everybody talks about how they missed a DeFi pump or how they missed this coin and they wish they bought it earlier, right? Everybody wants to buy something cheap, but if you really think about it, to buy something cheap, kind of, I've talked about this before. You have to buy when there's blood in the streets. The best time to buy is when everything is going down, and that means you have to really have nerves of steel, right? Because we have so many people, whether in the public Telegram group or the private Telegram group, telling us, hey, everything's going down. It's now the time to get out of the indices. It's now the time to sell and go on the sidelines. But as a value investor, that's the opposite of what you want to do. Because you want to buy low, sell high. And by selling, when things are going down, by definition, you are not doing that. Like, you're basically buying the top, and right? And I think to really hit that home, you have to buy low, sell high. And it sounds very simple, but it's very hard to do because the psychology it takes. You have to, by definition, you have to go against the grain. You have to buy when everything is going down, right? Because I would say one of the best times for our ratings and the AI this year was during the pandemic, when cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins dropped 30 to 40%. The highest rating we ever gave for Bitcoin was that same day. Our Bitcoin went below 4K. Amaro said, well, without being financial advice, they basically said this is the highest we've ever had Bitcoin ever. And that was really a perfect dip buying opportunity. And Bitcoin ended up going all the way past 10K, right? And right now, we're not quite there yet. The ratings have not fully turned bullish, right? So we can't really say that buy the dip, but I think we can now start to look to see, okay, now things are kind of coming back down to earth, because I would say the biggest events that happened were YAM and Sushi Swap, right? In terms of DeFi. So basically kind of like the biggest events that happened were that told the market that, okay, you know what, maybe DeFi is overvalued and things have to correct, right? Maybe this bubble has to come back down to earth, and then people can accumulate, and then we go back towards the moon, right? So I think it's been a pretty crazy week. Never a dull day in crypto. One question I do have for Bill as well is basically, what caused this to happen? Because we keep hearing about how crypto and Bitcoin has no correlation with the markets. But this entire year, what happens to stocks? When stocks crash, Bitcoin crashes and altcoins crash even more, right? So it seems like this year, in terms of just flight to liquidity and people just trying to get out of risky assets, it seems there's been lots and lots of correlation, right? So kind of my question to Bill, from your perspective, why do you think crypto and Bitcoin in general have been following stocks? We can't hear you, Bill.
So
Okay.
it's that thing you talked about where all risky assets seem to be connected. Because you got to remember, think of risky assets like 4 dogs in a kennel. So you might have stocks, bonds, currencies, and crypto, right? And the way risk management works in the quantitative world, when one dog starts barking, normally all the other dogs will start barking as well. So if you have a problem in one market, it can leak into other risky markets. And the same is true with crypto. Now, in this case, March was all about an oh my God with risk assets. In this particular case, we had a US presidential candidate, give us kind of a black swan, right? Joe Biden travels to Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is a suburban town halfway between Milwaukee and Chicago in the Midwest. Okay. And they have been experiencing some really intense social disorder because it's not a major urban center like New York. So it's a huge shock in that area. So Joe Biden goes to a town hall meeting in this place where violence is occurring, grabs the microphone and says, I can't tell you about my tax policy because you might shoot me. Okay. Now, for somebody to say that, that's a little bit shocking. For somebody to say it in Kenosha, it has to get the market's attention. So the way people interpreted that remark is that capital gains taxes are going up short-term and long-term. So I better sell out of everything now. So equities tanked, Tesla, all of these stocks fell apart. Okay. And then crypto and Ether followed. Okay. And we already talked about in crypto how, sort of everyone had the same position. Everybody was sitting on profits, or everyone was already long. And then it just feeds panic. So a lot of times it only takes one small thing, but that thing comes out of left field. And this actually reminded me a lot of what happened in stocks in 1987. I know I was in college at the time.
What happened in 87, Bill?
Okay, well, what happened in 87 was stocks had gone up for 4 consecutive years or 5 consecutive years. I mean, it literally was a giant party. It was the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, after Labor Day, things started to go wrong. And then by October, the market went down 25% in one day, which was unheard of, right? And this was before electronic orders. So my father, who was a broker at the time, told me stories about how the brokers in his office were all lined up to go to the clerk in the wire room. And they all had tickets, trade tickets, stacked this high in line for their customers to sell everything. You had to wait in line to hand in your paper to signal to the exchange to sell everything, okay? So you can imagine what kind of panic this created. Now, long story short, the market found a way in that case to hurt the most people. The only people it didn't hurt were the value investors. But even in that case, okay, the market went all the way down, it bounced, and then it came all the way back to retest the lows at the holidays. So if you're out there in crypto and you were looking at this thing on Saturday night and you're like, this is the end of the world, this is the end of me, you are not alone, right? This has happened in the history of markets. And one of the reasons why I bring up 87 is because that distress was so serious, right? Like DeFi disappearing over a 3-day period, that it actually formed a generational low, right? So, okay, you may have bought the top or you may have missed the signals. We told our stories. This market hurt everybody. right? Except for the guys who are buying and taking profits at the same, as they went along. But the pain was so serious that I think at least, that this could be like a major low point, right? That we shook the DeFi tree. And if you wake up tomorrow and DeFi's still there, okay, that means DeFi can take a punch, right? I mean, think about Chainlink, right? At Chainlink at 5, it was overvalued. At 20, everyone loved it. And then it went back down to 10 and everyone wanted to short it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the way people got twisted around here, and we're here to help. We helped the guys in our Telegram group. We fed them charts all weekend. We're here to help you. And the reason we want to help you is because you're the crypto family, and because things like this, when they happen in crypto, it's way more dramatic, right? Because you can imagine a different capital gains tax routine and how that might affect, say, Bitcoin whales, right? Or people who have been, hodling for a long time. So there's lots of things that can make you nervous, but there's also lots of opportunity. Okay. So that rounds out like what happened, and then say my opinion going forward, that this is an opportunity to get involved. If you missed it, or if you did a trade that didn't work out, or even if you got wrecked, right? If you can recover, take a deep breath and start to maybe reestablish positions, this is the time when hodlers get involved. So that's how I would wrap that all up.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Now, to also kind of reiterate, so one of my favorite value investors of all time, Howard Marks, says, you want to buy from pessimists and sell to optimists, right? So what does that look like? Meaning that the best time to sell was when everything was going up, right? So basically, since the bounce back from the pandemic, right, the best time to sell was on the way up, right? And then this week when everything crashed and we had so many pessimists, so many moon boys, moon girls that turned into pessimists, that was a possible buying opportunity, right? So if you're investing for the long term, I think there are really two things to kind of go about this, right? One, dollar cost average in. Don't just buy everything at once. So whether you're buying every month, every quarter, every week, pick a particular time frame and stick to it, because that removes the emotions of trying to time the market, right? Because if you're going to buy every month, for example, regardless of whether it's going up or down, then that kind of takes out the emotion, right? And then also when the market is going down, that's actually probably when you want to buy even more, possibly, right? Because that's when things are at a discount, right? Because the best discounts are when things are going down, not when things are going up. The best discounts are when things are going down, which means the best discounts are when there's blood in the streets. So, I mean, even though it's very unfortunate, but that's really the time to go to the bank and get more money. All right. With that being said, thank you, crypto family. It's going to be a great show. Tell us what you think down in the comments below. Okay. All right. So let's check in here with the audience and see how we're doing. Oh, by the way, so we do have a Mentimeter code. Let me pull that up because I know people are going to be asking for that. Okay, so go to menti.com, menti.com. Use the code 2226788. That's 2226788 to ask your questions. So this live stream will cover Bitcoin, altcoins, and stocks crashing, what you should do. This is really kind of a time for us to kind of come together as crypto family, Token Metrics family, and reassess going forward to make sure we all finish the year strong in crypto. All right, so let's check in here with the audience and see how we're doing. Be sure to smash the like buttons and subscribe. First of all, thank you, crypto family, for I forgot to mention this, but we officially passed 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, on the Token Metrics YouTube channel. So thank you, crypto family.
We just landed on the moon in a Lambo.
Right, and as I mentioned last time, we'll be giving away 1 year subscription to a subscriber for the hodler plan. Right, so be sure to stay tuned. At the end of the live stream, we'll be announcing the winner. So for anybody out there, if you haven't yet subscribed, I mean, make sure you subscribe to be able to be eligible for awards like this in the future. All right. So thank you, crypto family. It's a pleasure getting to 10K. Now we're on the road towards 100K. Right. The idea is to have 2 plaques. Right. I have that plaque for basically having my personal channel. Now we want to have one for the Token Metrics channel. Okay. All right. Back to the comments. Okay. TJ says this is a trader's market, not for investors. I would say, I mean, it depends, right? So, but actually, good question. So I would say it's a market for both, right? Yes, if you're doing active portfolio management, yes, right? But if you're an investor, it's still a market, right? Because you're thinking about the crash, right? But you have to think the other way around. Traders are trading on the way up because they basically ride the momentum, while value investors are selling, because right. So the best textbook example is with Aave, Lend, right? Aave, Lend, UMA, these products that have done a 10x, 15x, 50x, right? The value investors bought their positions in these projects back in 2018 when everybody thought altcoins were dead, right? They bought then, they accumulated, they just sat back, waited for the DeFi pump to come this year. Then as everything was mooning, they were taking profits, whether they would sell 10%, 20% with each up move, right? But they took off enough cash on the table to a point where when the crash came back down, they had lots of cash on the sidelines to then possibly buy the dip, right? So I definitely do think it's both a value investor and trader market. Bill, your comment, your thoughts on that?
So with, and you're right, it is both, right? So if you traded it, say on a weekly basis, you know, you'd buy, and there's that old saying that I have that you have to earn the right to take risk, right? So traders sometimes can become investors by having a trade and then taking some of the profits. And then if the profits continue to build up, they can add to the position, or they can just sort of let it ride by moving their stop loss up, right? So hodling for a trader could be a week or a month. And I think if you followed that plan, at least in the late stages of this last rally, like, you know, you buy it, it would moon, you would sell it. Yes. You're also right that it is a good investor's market, right? In other words, if you liked certain things fundamentally, your Chainlink, your Polkadot, but you didn't want to chase it, it gave investors, in this case, I think, a golden opportunity to get involved, right? Because you don't want to get caught in a selling vortex if you're going to try to hold it for 10 years, because no matter what anybody says, right? If they buy something and it goes down 40%, they're not going to hodl. They're either going to sell now or they're going to sell later. Trust me. So it is a market for both. Traders have probably done better. Okay. But the investor can return now that it's been flushed out on these, like, you know, strange catalysts, like a comment from a presidential candidate about taxes and Uniswap getting forked. Right.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Okay. All right. Let's check back in with the comments here on YouTube. Actually, from everywhere, from YouTube, Twitter, Periscope. Be sure to smash the like buttons. All right. So trying to find out who was the first on the stream. Okay. Mr. Bitcoin was the first person on the stream. What's up? What's up, crypto family? What's up, T on Twitter? Sebastian. Kimoyame. What's up? Alex, Mr. Alex Davis, James Locker, what's up? Guessing sushi is the main topic tonight. No, I mean, I would say crypto in general, just the entire market. What's up, Crypto Kahab? What's going on? What's up, Ray? Charles, what's up? We are going to 9K BTC, boys. Mr. Bitcoin says, I bought Chainlink under $1. Right? And that's how value investors win. Buying Chainlink under $1. Chainlink went to what? $24, right? So I mean, it definitely is still a value investor market in my opinion. Okay. All right. So with that being said, as mentioned, if you have any questions, go to minty.com. The Minty code is 22 26 78 8 22 26 788 to ask your questions. Be sure to ask your questions. We're here for you. Might even be a longer stream than normal. Okay. And then in terms of what we have here for the agenda, actually prior to that, hey, if you wanted research and you like the research during this large correction or crash, be sure to subscribe to tokenmetrics.com today. Go to tokenmetrics.com. We do have a paid discounted trial, and if you also need more guidance, we also do have the private group, which is now becoming very, very active. I mean, kind of as mentioned earlier in the show, Bill was in there the last few days, pretty much just living there, right? Just kind of giving updates to our community. And lots of people keep on asking, hey, do you guys have like a more private group, right? Well, that's our private group, right? And especially in stressful times like this week, our team does put in an effort to be there a lot. And we also do have an upcoming private call on Wednesday. So for anybody in the group, if you have any questions, feel free to just kind of contact us in the Telegram group, and our team will go through and answer that. And we're also probably planning to do a webinar for all our customers, probably I would say sometime this month, because we do understand it has been a pretty stressful month. This correction did catch lots of people off guard, so we want to make sure we're there for you. So the plan is to put together I would say one sometime in the next week or two. All right. Okay, and then let's keep it moving here. So we've done shout outs. So we'll also have Crypto Showdown. We'll have question of the day. We'll have Crypto Therapy, and we'll get through your questions right towards the end of the show. Okay. With that being said, let's go straight to Bill for a market update.
Okay. So, what just happened? Let's think about this. Let me see if I can get to it. Let's think about this when we think about things like Bitcoin dominance, okay, and altcoin market cap. So let's talk about the big picture. Now, we had a situation where altcoins did nothing but go up and Bitcoin did nothing for a while, okay? So what we're looking at here is altcoin market cap, also known as like Ian's favorite chart.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm thinking that we've witnessed something that happens frequently, right? That you have a euphoric move up here and here, right? This is all green in terms of altcoin market cap between 2 and 3, okay? And then this correction that's 4, all right, is very typical where you have this just like, oh my God, it falls out of bed. And it retraced half of what it did over the summer, okay? So this is all altcoins together. Now, as I see it, when you have this kind of sudden flush, you've like washed out everybody, right? It takes a lot of selling pressure to force a market down 60% in a short period of time. All right. Now, why am I telling you all this? Well, because I think altcoin market cap is going to recover, okay? And I think altcoin market cap can go up over $100 billion. And the reason is because you have this huge double bottom here. In other words, if you look at an altcoin market cap chart, like if I said, where was the crash of 2020 on this chart? You might be like, I can't find it. Okay. Now I understand people got wrecked. I got twisted up. We all did. But big picture, nothing really happened. Right? Because the upside for alts is so enormous. Okay. Now, if you understood none of that, that's okay. So let's try to make it easier. This is Bitcoin dominance, right? So it's basically like the percentage of the market overall that Bitcoin makes up. Okay. So, at 65%, you want to sell Bitcoin and buy alts. And then at 55%, you got to watch out for Bitcoin to catch up to alts or for alts to go down, right? Well, that's exactly what happened. Okay. And this rally in Bitcoin dominance, okay, went right to a point where it just kind of unwound like an excessive period. But when Bitcoin dominance got to that point, what happened? Everybody turned around and grabbed altcoins. Okay. So Bitcoin only ruled the roost while altcoins crash. And then as soon as it was like down, and then when I went to bed last night in despair, down, okay, that becomes the opportunity, right? So altcoin market cap rushes up and rushes down. It feels like a lot, but it's not. Like, look at a long-term chart of the S&P and try to find some of the crashes. It's difficult, okay? Bitcoin, okay, Bitcoin was like sort of cheap compared to alts, maybe? Or maybe we could say Bitcoin was underappreciated and alts had gotten too euphoric. Well, that was on the charts, okay? And now it's corrected itself. Seems like it's taken care of. So that's how I would do sort of cryptotherapy part 1, right? Things just got too out of hand. They flushed it out, and I think they can bring it back with some force when the time comes.
All right. Well said, Bill. Well said. Thank you. Okay. All right. Let's just check in with our audience and see how we're doing. Be sure to smash the like buttons. Tell us what you think. Okay. Joe C says, I love these guys on the charts. Thank you, Joe. Okay. People are talking about Tron. Okay. Somebody says, most underrated channel. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Crypto family. Hi, Ian. Do you still watch Billions TV show? Yes, I do, but they did pause filming because of the pandemic. But whenever that begins again, I'll begin watching that. But one show that is back is actually, it's a different show, but it's kind of like a spin-off. But the Power series on Stars, love that show. Great show. Okay. Okay, so here's a question for Bill from the comments. So this question is from Bilal. Bill, what is the stock market? What if the stock market continues to crash harder? BTC always follows S&P. Good question. Good question. So what happens if stocks keep on crashing, and regardless of what's happening with the markets and crypto, Bitcoin just follows the stocks?
Okay. So this is a great question. And this reminds me of the days when I used to work for an investment bank, that when, no one could answer a question, it would be my job to come up with one. Okay. So this is a classic case and a classic question. What do we do if we walk in on Tuesday and equities get wrecked? Now, I'm going to say something really surprising. I think the market just proved that Bitcoin is not the center of the crypto universe. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. I think it's great. But I don't know if the whole crypto narrative revolves around just Bitcoin. So here's what I think could happen. If equities get wrecked, which is not in the interest of the Federal Reserve and the current administration, mind you, so they may prevent that. But if equities get wrecked, I think Bitcoin whales may exit Bitcoin. They might say, okay, I'm taking my long-term profits and I'm going to put the money to work somewhere else in crypto. So I can see a situation where stocks, Bitcoin, and alts maybe all lurch lower. But I can definitely see a situation where if that happens, where if equities give you another opportunity to buy everything on the alt chart from ETH on down, that it actually becomes an opportunity, right? Like, I don't think alts go down another 60% just because stocks go down 5 or 6%, right? I think Bitcoin could fill the gap. There's a gap on the futures chart at like 9,700. I think it's conceivable that Bitcoin could lurch down there on like stop loss selling or panic selling, fill that gap, and have alts actually be okay. Because again,
now, could you kind of explain what that means to non-traders? What filling the gap means?
yes. Okay, so with Bitcoin, because it's a 24-hour market, all right, I'm pulling it up now. Bitcoin is a 24-hour market, right? But it has a futures contract, okay, that only trades, normal market hours like stocks, okay? So what'll happen is if Bitcoin makes a big move on a weekend, the price chart for the futures contract will have a gap, right? So it's this sort of like area where the market makes a high here and then the low of the next day is up here. And this is the gap. So a lot of people are talking about Bitcoin going lower and, filling in this gap on the futures chart by going to 9,700.
Just because, or is this something that typically happens?
You know what? The saying is gaps get filled. Okay. And that's a nice way of saying just because. Okay. Now, I also contend that, maybe gaps don't have to get filled because maybe Bitcoin is not the center of the universe. But if equities get wrecked, Bitcoin is going to fill that gap. Now, if Bitcoin fills the gap at 9,700 and bounces, the real question is, it becomes a scenario analysis of what should you do if that happens? Okay. I think the answer is buy Ether and alts, because, now that we've had our like Sushi black swan, now that everyone knows the capital gains tax regime is going to change. Okay. Yeah. Equities are ridiculously overvalued, but the Fed doesn't want them to go down. What's next? Right? Like after Bitcoin fills the gap, if that happens, what I call the excuse trade is over. Right? And that would allow the crypto market to really just sort of fly free. Because I know capital gains taxes are going up, but if you were a DeFi trader, okay, yes, if you had $1 billion in DeFi coins that you bought 3 years ago, sure, you have a capital gains tax problem. But most people who have gotten involved in crypto and DeFi, they just started. And they've got no capital gains right now to worry about. So it offers this opportunity for a market to go up when someone sells equities, right? Or someone sells Bitcoin, or someone sells something they're holding a bag in like Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash and says, okay, now what am I going to do? Well, you're going to buy stocks? You're going to buy a treasury at zero? No. You're going to buy Compound. You're going to buy Chainlink. You're going to buy Polkadot. You're going to buy Ether. You're going to buy Ren, Aave. This is like the new stuff. And crypto has something that is both good and very uncomfortable, right? So when we talk about Bitcoin filling a gap, we're talking about price discovery, okay? Jokes aside, if a gap gets filled, it's a test to see whether buyers are going to come, right? So if buyers come, they're going to come to a place where there's like kind of like clean water, a new fresh look. And I think that's going to be DeFi and the rest of crypto. Because as the world gets weirder, crypto is going to have a huge opportunity to show that, yeah, we can move down on our own. We can wash it out, but we can also come back, even if the world gets a little weird.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So tell us what you think about everything down in the comments below. Okay. All right. You still there, Bill? Have we lost you? Bill? Okay. maybe we're having some connection issues with Bill. All right, but hey, be sure to smash the like buttons. We have lots of people on the stream. Let me check in here with the comments. Okay, 10,000 point sell-off. People talking about Link, Litecoin. Is that all equities or just crypto? I'm not sure what the question is. Okay, people talking about Elrond, Encash. I haven't looked at Encash in a while. Okay, all right. Apologies, seems Bill dropped off on Zoom, but he'll be hopping back on shortly. But in other news, let me just kind of see what I want to cover. So once again, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, any questions, just go to menti.com, menti.com. Use the code 2226788. That's 2226788. Go there to ask your questions. And with that being said, let's go through the crypto indices, because I know lots of people have been asking about that. And first thing I want to say is, I mean, it's been a rough week, right? I mean, we all know that. I mean, even the AI has had a pretty rough week. So coming here to Token Metrics. So for example, let me pull up the screen. So let's go to the monthly, right? So first of all, the major changes we made, we've had all the indices begin at roughly the same time frame to make everything easier. So we've essentially kind of reset everything, right? So that's why the ROI numbers are now totally different. Because before we had the indices, we had some indices where everything began in April. However, the issue was back then we just had the initial price of the index and we weren't tracking the daily price. So as a result, we weren't able to graph it. So when people came here and went to show the chart annually, basically for the entire year, everything was kind of hard to plot, right? So as a result, we've basically thrown away pretty much, I would say, a few months worth of data and kind of made everything begin at June to make everything kind of easier to graph. So everything begins at 0, right? So this is the monthly price prediction index. So this is how it's performing so far since June 25th. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, we did make an update. So the update we made, which now kind of going back, I am basically kicking myself off for this, right? So this takes the price prediction accuracy, but in the past, or I would say for last month, we had it basically more strict, where it would only add cryptocurrencies in the index for price prediction that had an accuracy average over 80% for the last 3 months. So last month it was good because it was kind of very conservative, trying to hedge. And then it had the same thing this month, but people kind of said it was too conservative because it had too many stablecoins, and we took off that filter. And now looking back, obviously hindsight is 2020, but that was probably the wrong move because it ended up getting more altcoins, adding more risk to the index, and as a result, not performing as well. But this month we do expect to have new updates in terms of how the indices allocate. So we are working on some new models, and the allocation models will be different because right now everything is basically allocated based on the grade, right? So based on the grade, but we now plan to have a totally different model. We have some quants on the team from Columbia University that have been helping us really innovate and take the indices to the next level. So we're hoping to launch that sometime this month, hopefully maybe even as early as next week, because we know right now we are in a stressful time with the recent correction. But the best performing index thus far is still the price prediction, but the weekly. So if we go to the weekly price prediction, so last update was September 1st. Next update is September 8th. So going here, I mean, this is still doing pretty well, right? So it also did have a pullback as well, right? But it's not doing too bad compared to like Bitcoin and everything else. But I would say the index that fared pretty well was the daily. I know this week it did have half of its coins in stable coins, but now it's basically bought back in. So this is basically for day traders. So this is the day trading index basically. Now going through here, it's basically picked some coins that are bouncing back, such as Arweave, Aave, and Waves and Algorand. So that's nice. But in general, one thing I do want to hit home is the indices are meant to be a guide, right? They're meant to help you build an allocated portfolio. But they're also not meant for day trading, right? If you're picking the value investor indices, those aren't really meant for day trading, right? So if you have that index, it is not, I would not recommend, obviously not financial advice, but I would not recommend trying to day trade it, because that defeats the entire purpose of an index. The entire purpose of an index is to automate basically when you buy, and to really remove the emotions from trying to time the market and trying to trade the market, right? So for example, if we pick the annual value investor index, so let me update this here real quick, right? So this is the annual, right? So even this, I mean, so pretty much everything. So if you're in Bitcoin, that's fine. But in general, most of the money is made by staying in the market, right? So unless you're a professional, if you're a newbie, trying to time the market is very, very complicated, right? Because looking at this, overall, you're still doing pretty well, right? Especially if you got in and you had some OMG network, right? And some Cosmos and some Neo and Ethereum, you're still doing pretty well, right? So if you're going for the annual investor index, the entire premise is to only invest once a year, right? If you want to invest more, then maybe quarterly, right? But what I'm seeing, I've been getting lots of questions about people getting into the monthly price prediction index, for example, and then trying to day trade it, trying to get in and out. And I think that's the wrong approach, because what if you're wrong, right? And chances are you will be wrong, right? Because it's very hard to time the market. Because if you get into the monthly index and then you start to day trade it, what if you're on the sidelines and it pumps 50%, right? Because all of crypto pumped 50%, right? And you miss that up move, and that can really be self-defeating, right? So I would say pick whatever time horizon you're comfortable with and stick to it, whether it's weekly, monthly. If you want to day trade, then yes, then maybe switch to daily, but don't try to go back and forth, because that becomes self-defeating, because not only can you miss time and miss the upswings, you also are paying in capital gains taxes and in transaction fees, right? So you have chances to lose three ways. So I would definitely not advise doing that. Bill, welcome back.
Thank you. Yes, I got hit by lightning. Yes, we're back.
Okay. All right. That's good. Well, it's good that you're back, but not with the lightning. All right. So, well, any comments on people trying to trade the indices as opposed to kind of picking a particular time horizon and just kind of sticking to it? Your comments on that?
Sure. So with indexes, as Ian said, they're meant for people who want to make some small adjustments every once in a while. Okay. Now, what are other ways to have an index and have some fun trading? So if there are 10 coins in an index and you want to do something where you pull one of them out and say, insert something you want to hold for 2 or 3 days, and then maybe take the profit or loss and then put that other coin back, that's a form of active portfolio management. I definitely wouldn't be day trading all 10 coins. Okay. So, if you had Bitcoin in your portfolio and you wanted to take a shot at a hotter altcoin, great, or vice versa. Maybe you wanted to pull out an altcoin and say, you know what, I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to put in a little more Bitcoin or a stable coin. So there's a way to be active with an index. Okay. Now, I also think this is a little bit of freestyle. I also think that indices can be used for research purposes. For example, particularly the longer term ones. So here I am, I'm sitting down with a blank canvas and there's people in the premium trading group and they need help. So the first thing I said is like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to look at? What are the buys in this market? The first thing I did was I checked quarterly and annual token metrics indexes for both balanced and technology. I wanted to see what we liked long-term that I could maybe either invest in now or possibly scoop up and sell in a month. So yes, if you were looking to get involved, it's great to just grab an index and sit with it. Choice 2 is you can manage a piece of it. Choice 3 is you can use it almost like a research tool. Like when the whole thing is going down, it's really hard to think of, gee, what are the best coins based on technology? And how can I get a list of 10 of them quick? That's one way to use our site.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Okay. And somebody has a question. What are you buying right now? Well, actually, I mean, I didn't buy anything right now, but I also did buy some coins in the index, and I also did get wrecked. Right. So, I mean, we definitely do eat our own dog food. But for me, I'm still hodling for now. So I ended up buying reserve rights as a trade and also synthetics as a trade. Those two were based on I believe the weekly price prediction, and one was in the TA index. So I basically took profits on Chainlink as a trade, because as mentioned, that was part of the monthly price prediction index. So once that sold, I also took my profits and put those into reserve rights and synthetics. But yeah, I mean, it's been pretty rough, but hey, we're here. As you guys know, I'm not really a trader. I'm just kind of more, at least with me, my plan is just to follow the indices. And now I'm not following everything verbatim, right? I'm basically kind of picking the coins. So for me, I pick coins that are ERC20 tokens, right? So if it's not on a DEX, then I basically don't want to touch it, right? So out of the indices, so actually here, I'll just pull it up on my screen. Right, so basically my strategy is Uniswap or nothing, basically, all right? So I came here, I went to, I believe, monthly price prediction. Let me just take a quick look. And I look for what can I buy, right? Either on one exchange, right? So basically the only ones available that were liquid with the size I wanted to buy in was reserve rights, right? All these others, either they want ERC20 tokens or they want liquid, right? So I ended up getting this. Then I think the other one was technical analysis monthly, I believe. Synthetics, right? And I already had ETH. So that's kind of how I use the indices right now. I'm just kind of done with centralized exchanges for the time being. I mean, I think that's why DeFi has been taking off. So I've just been buying what I can just buy with MetaMask and a DEX, right? That's liquid with the allocation I want to buy, right? So that's kind of been my strategy. And now, obviously, everyone has different ways of investing or trading. Do what works best for you, right? Because I'm very busy. I don't have the time to go on to 10 exchanges to do 10 different trades. That's why I don't trade much. However, if I do want a piece of the pie, a piece of the index that's easily available on a DEX, then to me that's a lot easier to do, right? So that's kind of how I've been using the indices. All right, so tell me down in the comments below what coin you ended up buying this week during the correction. Okay, all right, let's hop into the question of the day. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Let's hop into Crypto Showdown. Okay, time for Crypto Showdown. So which of these two short-term has a better future? Is it Bitcoin or is it stocks? Is it the S&P 500? This one might end up being a landslide, but tell us what you think. Also tell us down in the comments below. So as a trader, which one are you more optimistic on? Is it Bitcoin, BTC, or is it stocks and the S&P 500? Bill, what's your take?
Well, it's a loaded question for a crypto audience.
Yeah.
Okay. Tesla did a 20x or 10x, I think, and Bitcoin hasn't done anything. So
Yeah.
you have to give Bitcoin a chance. All right. I'll take the other side of the coin though, because I think the Fed has a vested interest in keeping stocks moving. So you might actually get more out of stocks, whereas the unthinkable could happen in Bitcoin in that it could just stop moving. Everyone says Bitcoin is like gold. People forget gold didn't move for 3 years, 4 years, right? So, I mean, if 10,000 is roughly what Bitcoin's worth, and Bitcoin is kind of like collateral for the DeFi system, it may not be that exciting. It may be like a stable coin. Everybody's used to Bitcoin being like, oh, wow. Maybe not, right? So, once stocks are done with their heave, stocks may actually give you a better return into the end of the year than Bitcoin would. Because the thing is, like, I'm scared of stocks going down, right? Because they don't reflect reality. They haven't in years. It's even worse now. But in Bitcoin, I got two concerns: whales with capital gains taxes, right? And then possibly the government may be picking on crypto. It's easy to pick on Bitcoin because, there's lots of firms that read the Bitcoin blockchain for criminal activity, right? DeFi indexes are new. So I don't like equities, but I don't think there's a compelling Bitcoin case. There's some good Bitcoin charts, but I just don't think Bitcoin's going to move.
Okay, very, very interesting. So I actually do have a follow-up question. So we're basically 2 months away from the election, right? And how will Wall Street react depending on who wins the presidential election in the US? Whether Joe Biden, who's apparently wants to tax everybody, right? Because I've done some digging, and he plans to double the corporate tax. He plans to tax anybody who makes over 400K. And it seems like he's really trying to kind of help out more the working people, middle class, and not so much corporate interests, which is good. However, it's not so good for Wall Street and stocks, right? Versus Trump, who basically just wants to keep stocks up and the economy up, because that's kind of how he's trying to build his brand to win the election, right? So kind of tell us, depending on who wins the election, how will that impact stocks and crypto and Bitcoin?
Okay. So big question. I'll try to keep it concise. So stocks will love Trump because Trump will simply keep the current tax regime there, and stocks really think hand to mouth. So as long as there's no immediate threat to stocks, they'll just keep on going, right? Stocks are really not this brilliant broad market that goes, oh, maybe this is not that good. No. Okay. If everything is okay and the Fed is still running the printing press, Trump will be preferred by equities. Okay. Now for crypto, okay, it's kind of a double-edged sword. All right. Crypto may wind up being worse off with Trump because perhaps we could get some different people at the SEC, so they could just give crypto the green flag, like in Formula One. Just wave the green flag and say, hey, we're going to let you guys do this. We're not going to come down on DeFi. And if we ever heard that, even if Joe Biden had higher taxes, if we got clearly crypto-friendly regulation, oh my God, people would pay the taxes, honestly. Okay. Can we have crypto in the United States? I don't think we're going to have crypto in the United States under Trump, right? We'll have normal taxes. Equities won't cave. All right. So again, it's all strange. Now, I also think with Joe that we all know that Joe is not the smartest guy in the world, right? He's running the last leg of the race. And the guys behind Joe. So the question is, Joe's out there, he plays a little golf, he does a photo ops, but who's really running the country under Joe? Okay. Now, the answer to that is people who not only want to redistribute wealth, That means take money from the rich in kind of like a sort of an angry way, but they also want to be nice and they want to give it to people who need it, which is a really nice way of saying helicopter money. This was a saying that came out when the Fed first started printing money. We called the chairman of the Fed, Ben Bernanke, we called him Helicopter Ben. Okay. Now, in this case, it's probably going to be Helicopter Kamala, because people are hurting so bad that these guys are just going to hand out money left and right. Remember, we were talking about MMT, modern monetary theory, tax the rich, run the printing press, give it directly to the people. It could also be a digital dollar, right? It could also be something that goes into a wallet that people can only spend on necessities, food, housing, etc. So I think, the Democrats are more likely to adopt crypto as a way to hand out money. And of course, just handing out money, taxing the rich, driving capitalists out of the country does so that little bit of chaos, like the secret sauce on the Big Mac. Crypto needs a little bit of chaos in order to flourish, not too much. So big picture, Trump, status quo, equity's not getting wrecked. Biden, I think possibly more opportunity for crypto to expand its horizons, just because it brings more opportunity for government policy mistakes, more opportunities for printing money, okay? And more opportunities for people to say, you know what, legacy, politicians, banks, corporations, goodbye. I'm going crypto.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, very, very interesting take. And just to kind of add on to that, so our securities attorney who worked in the Reagan administration, from talking to him, he also kind of thinks that pretty much Jay Clayton has been the worst thing to happen to crypto in America. And he thinks that if Democrats were to win, because when that happens, they have to replace the chair of the SEC. He says pretty much right now, the top, obviously not legal advice, but pretty much one of the top Democratic securities attorneys is pro-crypto, right? And he thinks that, obviously right now it's just pure speculation, right? But he thinks that if Biden were to win, whatever person they would put in there, right, kind of going based on the top people the Dems have, he thinks that he'll, pretty much anybody would be better than Jay Clayton, right? Because Jay Clayton has pretty much kind of, I'm basically kind of paraphrasing his words, but basically he's taken pretty much all of innovation in America and forced people to leave the country to innovate in crypto, right? And pretty much they've not been friendly at all. They've pretty much been the SWAT team breaking down the party, and pretty much anybody out there who's building anything worthwhile in crypto has been forced to go to other jurisdictions, whether Switzerland, right, and other parts of the world. So he thinks pretty much whoever comes into power with the Biden administration would be a much better bet to really be pro-crypto. Now, obviously, that could be totally wrong, right? But I mean, I think either way, it's pretty tough to tell, right? Because on one hand, we have no taxes. On the other hand, we have pro-crypto, right? But I mean, obviously, we aren't really political, but I think, I mean, I would like to have it both, right? But hey, tell us what you think. Okay, but now getting back to the crypto showdown. So Bitcoin wins pretty much in a landslide, right? So people are more optimistic for Bitcoin. It was kind of a loaded question asking this on a crypto show, but just kind of wanted to hear people's take. All right, so tell us down in the comments below, which one do you think has more upside, short-term, Bitcoin, S&P, and stocks? Tell us down in the comments below. Okay, now going to the question of the day. All right, so question of the day. Are you buying the dip or are you selling? Are you getting the hell out, going to the sidelines and waiting? Are you in Tether? So tell us what you think. Go to menti.com, menti.com. Use the code 2226788. That's 2226788. So are you buying the dip or are you selling? So me, quite frankly, just kind of share my perspective. I'm not selling, right? I'm not yet buying the dip per se, but I mean, because I'm already in crypto, right? But I think now is really the time to look at crypto, because now the valuations have come back down to earth, right? So if you're looking to scoop up a very good project, whether it was Polkadot, Chainlink, Ethereum, Bitcoin, or some other DeFi project that had shot up and gone to the moon and beyond, now it's come back down to earth to reload, and it's going back for a second flight. Right, it's going back into orbit. Now could really be the time to buy the dip, right? Bill, any comments on that?
Sure. So let me tell you how I helped our premium group. So from a research point of view, I think this would have been Saturday afternoon. I was like, let me put together a list. Okay. So the answer to the question is yes, I would definitely be trying to buy. Okay. And I put out a list and a whole bunch of charts of like coins to take a shot, right? Like, I mean, Chainlink went from 1 to 5, from 5 to 20 something. At 10, you have to look at it. The same thing with like Ren, Aave, Polkadot. I mean, Polkadot, I think, was somewhere near 4, right? So many charts, so little time. All of these plays that have great narratives were on sale. It's that simple. And the way I would take it one step further, there are a lot of like DeFi infrastructure plays. Okay. So it's like, what's the DeFi bet going forward? And I think it's what I would call DeFi plumbing, right? The exchanges, the places where people can come to build competing tokens to ERC tokens, ERC20 tokens, right? In other words, this stuff was on sale. So I think that's how I had to approach it. I looked at it and I go, okay, what kind of analyst am I in crypto? If I'm watching this go down for like the third day in a row, like 25% or more, you got to take a shot, even though it looked horrible. I mean, I went to bed Saturday night going, I hope I have a job in the morning.
Yours have a job, Bill.
I mean, I did. I was in the premium room for like 6 hours. I lost track of time. I was in there for like 6 hours, and I got up, and then I looked at the market, and I probably had the same despair that you did, or anyone else did that had positions. But I stuck with the theory that you have to take a shot if you're a believer in crypto when things get marked down that much. Now, if I'm wrong and it's 2018 and everything's going to zero, well, then I took my shot, stopped myself out, and that's it. Real short show, right?
Yeah.
Real short. But I don't think that's what's happening. And I think there's cause to believe that crypto has a legit future. It's easy to say that when it's mooning, but you have to believe it in your heart when you take a shot and you buy. The same way the equities guys believed in the American economy and then the invention of the internet, right? Now, as you have to remember, it's like, I know crypto's new, but the belief and the economics and kind of the almost like the Link Marines, that like reverence or that sort of like cult following, all that stuff is what you have to remember at the moment of despair. So the answer is yes, take a shot.
Yeah. So actually in basketball, there's a saying called shoot your shot. Right. And I think it's well said, because if you're long-term bullish in crypto and you see projects you like on sale and you don't buy them, if you have money on the sidelines, then are you really in crypto? Is basically the question, right? Because I think it's very easy to say that you're bullish on crypto when things are going up. But when things pull back 40, 50, 60%, I mean, you have to be like salivating at the discount, right? I mean, because for me, like, because when I saw UMA, because I mentioned UMA is a project I like technology-wise, when I saw it drop 50% in a day after Coinbase listing, I was like, holy cow. I mean, like, I wish I had money to just buy, right? And then UMA today's up 36%, right? So I think when moments like that come, because that's where real money is made. That's where the real money is made if you miss the boat, right? Because if you missed the boat to buy the dip or to buy during the last bear run, you really, because in a bull runs don't just go straight up, and that's something that I think we should definitely kind of keep on trying to reiterate to people, because especially people who maybe haven't been investing before, who maybe just got into crypto this year and it's the first time they're really kind of investing, because people were like, oh my God, things are down 30%, like, do I sell? But I have to keep on telling people, if you have perspective, I mean, lots of cryptocurrencies, I mean, DeFi in just 1 year went from $500 million to $9 billion. DeFi, the entire DeFi market cap has basically done an 18x return. So when you put it in that perspective, an 18x return, I mean, having a pullback is natural. I mean, because with every bull run, nothing goes straight up, right? It basically is a zigzag, right? It goes up, comes down. It's basically kind of like taking 5 steps forward, 2 steps back, right? Because even though you take 2 steps back, you're still net 3 steps forward, right? So if you keep on doing that, eventually you'll land on the moon and then to the moon and beyond, right? So I think people should definitely have that perspective. And I think maybe if they get too caught up in the day trading and swing trading, they miss the bigger picture, which is that everything is going up. I mean, DeFi has done an 18x in 1 year. So 1 week where it does not go up is actually normal, right? Because if everything went straight up, I mean, we'd all be having this call like owning like 3 moons, right? And 3 apps on the moon, right? So while investing may seem easy, it's not easy, because you have to really go against the grain and do what your emotions would tell you not to do, right? Yeah, you have to do the opposite. You have to do the opposite of your emotions, and I think that at times might be tough for newbies. But that's why we have our platform trying to make things easier, and that's why we also have the premium group as well, right? Where through what I would call a crisis like this week, our team tries to be there, available to help guide you through it. All right. With that being said, thank you, crypto family. Tell us if you have any questions or comments down below. Okay. All right. So I think. Okay. So the winner, I forgot to talk about the winner. The winner was buying the dip, and yeah. So pretty much everybody's buying the dip on this. Okay. All right. Okay. So time for us to go to crypto therapy. All right. So thank you to everybody who's been calling and dropping us the voicemails. We love them. So crypto therapy, as usual, if you have a crypto question, call toll free 1-888-90 token. That's 1-888-908-6536 to submit your question. We love getting your voicemails. This is toll free. We accept calls from the US and international. All right, so let's go to the first question. Okay, so let's play the voicemail.
Hello, my name is Sheldon Deere. I've been in the space for a while, and I'd like y'all's opinion on something. Someone recommended your tool to me. So I'm wondering, your machine learning is supposed to do both FA and TA. So how are you guys seeing the sort of converged image of the market after DOT and other similar interoperability protocols get deployed? I'm wondering how people will evaluate the value of smart contract platforms when any smart contract platform can talk to any other, because obviously I'm invested in some smart contract platforms, and there's new ones coming online today. So just curious about what y'all see as the sort of hyper-converged chains talking to chains through things, not just Polkadot, but, you know, more than atomic swaps. How do you guys see the future in the interoperability space with the tech moving forward, with DAG becoming a consideration? How do you guys see the market moving in the context of altcoins and Bitcoin?
All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you for that question. So basically the question is, what's the future of interoperability if we have all these different blockchains talking to each other and the smart contract? Then what smart contract blockchain will win out? And a very, very good question. Now, from our research, in terms of the technology and fundamentals and everything, our top interoperability blockchains in this order are basically Polkadot, followed by Cosmos. Then we'll probably add in Icon as the third. So I would say those are the top three. You obviously have AI on one chain as well, but our top three are those. So if we have a world where all those are able to connect other blockchains, Bitcoin, Ethereum, EOS, whatever, what happens to interoperability? I think the winner will go to the blockchain with the largest developer community, right? I would say the blockchain with the best technology and the best developer community. And right now, quite frankly, it looks like Polkadot. I mean, Polkadot has come almost out of nowhere, even though they had their ICO back in 2017, and it's been kind of building for a while. But this year, the narrative for Polkadot has been huge, to a point that I think it's become Polkadot's race to lose, because they have the better technology and they have the better developer community, and they have lots of people building on top of it. And then you also have Cosmos as well, which is pretty good project in its own right. But I think right now, just that, I would say the quality of projects we're seeing in terms of those being built on Polkadot, I think it's really Polkadot's race to lose. And I think Cosmos is the second. Now, I don't think there has to be like just one winner. I think there's enough I think the pie is big enough for everybody. But I think in terms of where most of the value will be captured, I believe it will be Polkadot, right? I mean, if I had to put my money into one project, it would be Polkadot. Now, Icon is also good in its own right. Icon is kind of doing lots of great things, but Icon could really carve out its own niche because they have lots of partnerships with other organizations in Korea and Asia. So they could maybe become like the interoperability for Korea or parts of Asia. Now, I don't think, but in terms of like general interoperability, I think right now Polkadot is the one, also based on market cap. Cosmos is second, and Icon is basically third. Bill, any comments on either of that? Okay, we can't hear you, Bill. You're on mute, Bill?
Got it.
Okay, all right.
All right.
There you
we
go.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So interoperability. One of the things that happened that I noticed, that we have Cosmos in our like value portfolios, right? And even though we really liked Cosmos, we were getting old waiting for it to go anywhere. And then all of a sudden, Cosmos woke up, okay? So that's one plus for this whole interoperability narrative, right? In other words, one thing you want to do after a correction is say, is the narrative still in check? So first we had Cosmos rally, and then Cosmos, declined, but then bounced. Now in Polkadot, very important. Last time we talked about Polkadot, we had so many people who loved it that I was a little bit skeptical that it could go straight up without shaking some people out. And I have to admit, this was very hard to chart. All right, so I'm looking at an intraday chart of Polkadot here, and I'm noticing that this whole washout, right? This is what happens when people love something, right? But they buy it at the wrong price, right? This is the future. This is what's going to help. But if you bought it at 8 or 5.5 and you're looking at it print below 4 right here, you're probably panicking. Meanwhile, if you take a look over here, right? Polkadot, like a horse in a Kentucky Derby, this area around 370 or 4, that's where the whole rally started from, right? In other words, no one caught this part, but once people caught on, Polkadot was on fire, right? So what happened? Great story. People bought. Most people missed it. They shook everyone out. Okay. And then everyone was like, I think I'm too scared to buy it. I understand that. I get it. But that's the whole definition of bull markets, because at the low, people are too scared. But what happens when it starts to go up and people get left? They go, well, I'm not missing this again. Cosmos, the same thing, right? So this narrative is in check, and price is set up for people to come in and express their view.
Very, very good points, Bill. Yeah, I mean, so I think the narrative, as Bill mentioned, is in check. But I think what really makes Polkadot even stronger is you have the interoperability narrative, but you also have the DeFi narrative, right? So Akala is launching and all these other projects. So, and right now Ethereum is facing its challenges with scaling and just transaction fees. So if they can just kind of get all that interest and channel that onto Polkadot, even with DEXs launching like PolkaSwap, Polkadot can really catch fire, right? Obviously not financial advice, just kind of trying to talk about those two narratives coming together. But tell us what you think. Are you bullish on Polkadot? Are you bullish on any other interoperability blockchain, whether Icon, Cosmos? Tell us what you think down in the comments below. And thank you, caller. Okay, all right. So now on to the next caller. Okay, all right. So,
hey guys, just found you guys. Very excited to become a member pretty soon as I wrap up with work today. Just had a question regarding staking on exchanges and security. I've seen a lot of people have differing opinions. Some people think, the 8 or 12% or whatever isn't worth the risk of keeping your tokens on an exchange and not securely in a wallet. And some people say, hey, 12%, for example, DOT on Kraken is too good to ignore. So I'm just curious where you guys landed on that. I am staking DOT on Kraken and PCX on Hotbit. So if that lends any insight. All right. Appreciate it, guys. Take care. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, caller. So question is basically, is staking worth it on an exchange? And I think this is a very, very good question. I would say it depends on the exchange, right? So an exchange like Kraken, I think is more credible. So I wouldn't be as concerned in terms of staking on Kraken. But if it's some random cryptocurrency exchange that, quite frankly, not to offend anybody, but if it's overseas, to me, it's kind of not top tier because the regulation climate here for crypto exchanges is a lot tougher than maybe in some random jurisdiction, like let's say some random island, right? Whether it's like Antigua, Barbados, or whatever, right? So I feel more comfortable staking in a cryptocurrency exchange in America or in a place where there's more regulation, quite frankly, right? But even that though, I would never put everything on the exchange if you are going to do that, right? I myself don't stake on exchanges, but if you do plan to do it, I would definitely just mitigate the risk. Don't put your entire capital because anything could happen in crypto. Crypto has lots of risks. So because if a cryptocurrency exchange will hold custody of your funds, I would maybe only put a quarter of them and just kind of see how that goes. I would not put 100% of your funds. All right. In general, though, I do veer more towards having custody of staking. I think that's why yield farming has taken off and has done so well because people maintain control of their assets, right? So, but right now, that's not available to my knowledge on Polkadot. But I'm not sure whether there are other platforms that are building that because I know Polkadot is kind of launching their own DeFi substrate, I believe. But in general, if it's a well-known exchange that's credible, that hasn't really had issues with taking people's funds, with freezing people's funds, right? That has pretty good security teams like Kraken, I would definitely feel more comfortable, but I would not put everything on that exchange. Bill, your take?
Yeah, just quick. So when it comes to staking, if you're new and you want to practice, do it through an exchange, right? Obviously, you don't want to put everything in there, but if you need to learn about staking, right, places like Kraken do make it, fairly straightforward. So practice, practice, practice.
All right. Thank you, Bill. And thank you, caller. So tell us what you think. Do you think it's great to stake on an exchange? If you do stake on an exchange, what percentage of your capital do you stake? Tell us down in the comments below. Okay, all right, let's check in with our audience and see how we're doing. Wow, we have lots of people here on the stream. Be sure to smash the like button. Be sure to smash the like button. Wow, okay, I see we have a super chat here. Okay, so super chat from, gotta love the name here. So super chat from Offshore Crypto. So thank you, we appreciate it. So question is thoughts on Bidao. ICO is ended. Will be on ERC20 token. Okay, yeah. So we have covered this before in the past. Our issue with it is that it's a brand new cryptocurrency, and the question is their code on GitHub, they didn't really have much on there. So the question is, do you really think this is better than any other project out there, right? Because it seems like the interest there was just because it was building something for DeFi on Binance Chain, but I think that hype is kind of cooled off for now. Now I'm not saying the project can't do well, but I'm saying I would probably just wait it out and wait until it's trading and see how it does well as a trade. All right, so I would not get in long term as a value investor. I'll just kind of probably maybe trade it. But other than that, it's kind of really my take on it. I don't think it's on exchanges on TradingView yet, Bill, is it?
What's the spelling?
Bidao, Bidao.
No, I don't have that.
Yeah. So not seeing that, unfortunately. Okay, all right. Actually, sorry. Just give me 1 second. Let me just check something and see how we're doing here with our audience. Okay, we'll be getting to everything shortly. Apologies. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, all right. Okay, so I think people have been waiting for a while now. Okay, so he's saying it's going to be on Uniswap. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, let's go straight to the to the AMA. Okay, see we have some jokesters here. Let me just go through and filter out some of the questions here. Okay, sorry, just give me a second here. Okay, some questions I've already answered. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so this question is on Helium. Okay, hi Ian, big fan. Thanks for picking Helium over a year ago. Is there a project that's like Helium, i.e. has a real world use case? There's nothing out there like HNT so far that I've seen. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it definitely did take some time having to just kind of go through and just find a hidden gem like Helium. And quite frankly, Helium did do pretty well during the dip, right? Helium is not quite a stable coin, but relative to all the other cryptocurrencies, it didn't really dip that much, right? If we go to the last 7 days, so it basically was high, it was around 160, 180, but went to 120, right? So it hasn't really dipped quite as much as other projects, right? And if we also go to explore.helium.com, I mean, they've been building. They now have over 8,000 hotspots. Okay, that's not it. But looking at this, so the current market cap for Helium is about 60 million, right? And market price is down about 12% in the last 24 hours, I believe. Volume is up. So they were added on Binance US, which is great. But going here to network.helium, so actually I did get a second hotspot to send to my brother. But quite frankly, my region sucks for mining. The new update they had has basically killed it to a point where now I'm just buying on exchanges. But I mean, ever since we last covered it, they've doubled their number of hotspots, because I think when we covered them, they had about 4,000. Now they're at 8,000 hotspots, and they've began shipping to Europe, right? Then they're doing Asia next year, right? So Helium, I'm still very bullish on it. I think this could be a top 30 cryptocurrency. Now, in terms of what other projects do I think could be the next Helium? Well, I mean, I think once Helium gets added on Coinbase, because they are looking at it for Coinbase, this could really take off, right? And that's when like top 50, top 25 market cap becomes a real possibility. But obviously we have seen projects also dump, kind of like UMA and Band, right? But I think long term, this to me was, I mean, it's hard to say no brainer, but I mean, this to me was as easy as it gets in terms of like a sure bet. Obviously, there is no sure bet in value investing, but I think this is a project that to me, after having a chance to meet the team, doing our research, I think this is what is the epitome of value investing. Because when you find something that nobody else has discovered, and then you say, okay, you know what? Let's get in. I mean, the only thing I regret is not buying more, right? Because I had a chance to buy this under 25 cents, under 10 cents even, but I was trying to be patient. I was trying to time it. But I mean, when you're value investing, sometimes, and you're bullish long-term, I mean, trying to time it sometimes becomes futile, right? But other projects that I think have this potential, I mean, Matic Network, I've covered that before, so that's not really a surprise to anybody at this moment in time. I mean, I'm bullish on UMA, even though it's not quite as strong as Helium is in terms of ratings. We're still doing a few other projects. Last week we covered Dia. That one, tech-wise, is good. We're still doing the fundamental review on Dia, but that one is one to keep an eye on. Let me see what other projects we to cover here. Okay, sorry, just give me 1 sec. Checking token metrics. Yeah, I mean, for now, I think there isn't really a Helium-like project that comes to mind right off the bat that I haven't covered before, right? Because most of the Helium-type projects we do cover before. I mean, the only other one I know, I can't comment about it. They haven't launched yet at all. But all I can say is Token Metrics family, stay tuned. We'll have more info. Bill, any comments on Helium from a TA perspective?
Oh, certainly. Okay, coming right up. Okay, so I actually kept an eye on this. You know, what's really interesting about Helium is that it has this like start-stop model that I've talked about before in altcoins, right? So, you know, Helium did this consolidation in this square and then rallied. And now it's not clear whether it's over or not, but Helium could be making some form of triangle, right? Mm-hmm. Where it goes back and forth. You know, I don't have it perfect yet, but something like that. And I think Helium's building up steam for like the next move, right? It's just a question of, you know, there might have been people because you know, Helium might have been like a slow-mo FOMO, right? People may have, you know, said, oh yeah, I wanted to buy this. And then it jumped up on them and then they figured they could get in and just, you know, they could just buy it and sort of hold it. So it may wash people out a little. You know, sometimes the stuff that holds up initially has a dip later. But again, for anybody who's talking Helium, that would be a good thing, right? You want to own it.
All right. Thank you, Bill. And thank you with the question. Tell us what you think. Are you bullish on Helium? Or is there a different project you think that's the next Helium? Tell us down in the comments below. Okay, all right. So we have a super chat again. Okay, let's go to our. Let me pull that up. Okay. All right, super chat from Tim Lin. Thank you, Tim. Oh wow, $25, a big baller. All right, so do you see the rates being paid on USDC deposited sustainable by platforms such as BlockFi? Okay, all right, good question. So are the rates sustainable? Okay, let me just pull up the current rates because I haven't looked at this in a while. But I mean, I would say long term, definitely not. That's kind of what just comes to mind in general. I mean, because I'm not even sure how they get those rates to be able to pay people, right? So a site I like to use is defyrate.com/lend. So this shows us the rates for August. So basically for last month. Okay, so you said USDC, which is the Coinbase and Circle backed regulated cryptocurrency. And BlockFi has 8.6%. Wow, yeah, that is pretty high, 8.6%. But I see Fulcrum, wow, 73%. Okay, now that's not sustainable. But okay, I mean, first of all, I'll probably put some here, but just make sure you probably take out a Nexus Mutual smart contract cover just in case, because this is DeFi and they have had hacks before, I believe. Okay, but back to your question. So is this sustainable? Long term, no. I mean, but I feel like it's normal. Everything kind of starts very high, then over time it just kind of deflates. I mean, just look at Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin, the supply schedule with any cryptocurrency begins very, very high. And then over time, it basically just decreases, right? So people who get in early get rewarded, right? So I'm not quite sure exactly how BlockFi works. But I mean, I don't think these rates would last forever. Bill, your thoughts in terms of all these rates lasting for a while?
Right. Okay. So I have to, I'm not a 24-year-old crypto developer, right? So I have to get my head wrapped around these concepts the way anybody else would, like DeFi. So how is somebody affording to pay a 5 or 8% return? Well, they've got to be making a lot more than that. And my guess is they're either lending for speculators, right? They're somehow lending whatever you're depositing somehow to a speculative community, like margin lending in stocks, right? Mm-hmm. So it's sustainable if the crypto market is hot and speculators are there, because I'm assuming that's where the lending is occurring, right? They're taking your money and giving you 8%. So either that 8% has to go to zero, like other dollar interest rates, or it normalizes based on the amount of speculation lending that occurs, like margin lending in stocks. So is 8% sustainable? Probably not, okay? And assuming it's all legit, okay? We hope it's legit, right? And it's not some sort of scheme. Mm-hmm. Whoever needs to borrow out there, I think it's great because it helps crypto have an interest rate mechanism. And interest rates, a lot of people don't know this, but like, again, in the 80s, that was the development futures of an interest rate pricing mechanism, right? Like, where are interest rates? And there were all these innovations to figure that out. So I actually think volatility in crypto interest rates is great because it helps discover like what the interest rate should be in the crypto universe. So the more volatile it is in the beginning, the better.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. So tell us what you think as well. Do you guys think these rates will last? I mean, because I know when it comes to DeFi, even that can't be sustained, but the way it's kind of done is because they're paying out in their own token, they basically have the supply to do it. But after a while, when the supply decreases over time, then those rates kind of decrease as well. But tell us what you think. Do you think those rates will last or not? Okay. All right. Thank you for that super chat. Okay. All right. Back to the AMA. Okay. Hi, Ian. No questions. Just a big fan. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. Crypto family, please smash the like buttons and subscribe. Please smash the like buttons and subscribe. And don't forget, we'll be announcing a winner for the Token Metrics hodler plan, 12 months free to our subscriber. So stay tuned. We'll be announcing that towards the end of the show, which might be, I would say, in less than an hour, basically in maybe 30 to 60 minutes or so, I would say. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Okay. All right. Next question. Okay. Okay, have all the new DeFi coins diluted the value of projects like Maker and Compound? Okay, so have all these new DeFi coins diluted the value of projects like Maker and Compound? Okay, so a site I would go to that is DeFi Pulse. This is kind of like the coin market cap that tells us how the DeFi market is doing. So if we go here, we see, wow, okay, Uniswap dominance is 18%. Now, before before Compound even launched, Maker's dominance was over 40%. Right, so there's definitely been this seesaw effect, this musical chairs happening with all these DeFi protocols, because Maker is now number 3, right? It's been surpassed by Aave, right, as well. Uniswap and Aave have passed it. Curve Finance has also been competing with it, and herein is kind of healing at the tails of the shoe, right? But in general, so you said Compound as well. Compound, when it launched, it surpassed Maker and became number 1 in terms of dominance, but now it's all the way back to 7th. So the Compound hype has kind of cooled off. The FOMO has kind of gone away for now. All right, but going back to your question here, right? So have all these new DeFi coins diluted the value of projects? Yeah, I would say the pie has gotten bigger with all these new protocols launching. So like Curve Finance just launched basically last month, and it has almost $1 billion locked up. Yearn Finance launched about 2 months ago, has almost $1 billion locked up. Compound launched about 3 months ago, has over $500 million locked up. Same with Balancer, right? So here we have 4 protocols in the top 10, right? So Compound, let's say $500 million, $750 million or so, $1 billion. $1 billion. Yeah, so over $2 billion worth of assets in the last few months alone. So I think that does definitely add dilution. But we still think Compound and Maker are good projects, and we think Compound has a chance to bounce back. And that's kind of what we told people. Right? We also told people basically when Compound launched and all the hype was on Compound because it was the brand new sexy cryptocurrency, we said people pay attention to Maker because now it's kind of being undervalued. And just like as we said, textbook, Compound ended up kind of coming down, cooling off. The FOMO went away. Then Maker bounced right back, right? And now the attention is on DEXs and Aave as well. Maker is, in our opinion, is still a solid project, so definitely do keep an eye on it. But I think just long term, the pie will get bigger and the dominance will get smaller, but the value will be larger. Right? I think that's healthy with any growing market. Bill, your thoughts?
I had an economics professor who taught us about things like this, and he said, the more gravy in the kitchen, the more dogs at the door. Okay, so the bigger the DeFi project program or concept gets, every new player is going to dilute every other player. And since crypto kind of has this unique way of making people excited and then unexcited, it's going to be hard to sort it out. I think, based on what you said, you're going to sort it out based on name brand, right? So, Uniswap has got a great brand. I think Compound, even though it was hyped and then unhyped, also has a brand, right? So it's actually going to come down to marketing, because like with banks, right? Like, what's the difference between credit card and deposit account at Bank A versus Bank B? Not much, right? So in DeFi, it's going to come down to Uniswap has kind of a unique angle, and then it's going to come down to whoever's got the best technology and probably the best backing, right? Who's got the funds to be around for the long term. Otherwise, it's just a flash in the pan. So that's who's well capitalized is a question you should be asking about these projects.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point, because what happened recently with Sushi Swap, right? Basically, when the market crashed, the founder basically sold the tokens and got out. And I think that was basically pressure. Maybe he kind of saw he had $10 million worth of tokens, and he thought the market was possibly correcting, and this could be the end, right? Maybe he kind of thought this could be 2018 all over again, right? So I think projects that do have lots of capital and are well funded will weather the storm long term. Okay, all right. So thank you for that question. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, I think we've kind of covered this, but let's do it again. So, do you think it is likely there could be more downside in Bitcoin and altcoins? So I'll defer to Bill, kind of from the TIA perspective, and just kind of from your general perspective. Do you think there's still more downside in Bitcoin and alts?
Okay, well, bottom fishing is a very expensive sport. Okay, it is. So, yes, we do advocate value investing, but picking the low, just like picking the high. We told you our stories about how we had warning signals, but we just got turned the wrong way a little bit. The same thing happens at a low, right? At a low, it's nothing but doom and gloom. So could we have more doom and gloom? Sure. If equities open up Tuesday and Joe Biden says we're taking all your money, it's going low. It's good. That's it. It's going lower. Okay. But the question, the way I would answer this is to say, not 2018. That's my premise, right? In other words, everyone was like, okay, I need to dump everything because they're afraid of what I call the knife experience. They remember 2018, and every time the market goes red, it's like a flashback. So can the market, can crypto bounce and then retest the lows? Sure, right? Can Ethereum test 320 again? Yeah, maybe. But is Ethereum going to go to 170, and is Bitcoin going to go to 5,000, and is it all over? No. I mean, unless equities go down 40%. So the point is this: you can always retest the lows, but again, crypto DeFi down 60%, buy it or sell it. And if I had asked you that question in the middle of August, you'd be like, DeFi down 60%, buy it or sell it. You would have been like, it's a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. But after you've lived through it and had to look at it and your P&L and not slept, right? And you had to grow a goatee because, you've just, it's the playoffs. It's like hockey. You know what I'm saying? You got to just get serious. So it can go lower. It can retest the lows. But I don't think that's the most likely scenario.
All right. Well, thank you, Bill. Thank you. Great work. Tell us what you think as well down in the comments below. All right. Moving on to the next question. Okay, so Polkadot gems. We've kind of covered this before, but let me. Okay, so question is Polkadot gems. So basically, he's asking what cryptocurrencies building on Polkadot do we like? So the ones we've looked into, actually, there haven't really been many. One we're looking into, and our team is. This is purely almost like this was a FOMO play, but I think with the market changing, right, the speculation has to also change, right? Because right now there isn't really anything available yet. This was basically just more on Uniswap is doing great. We've seen what's happening with Sushi Swap, and Polkaswap is basically doing the same thing on Polkadot, but it's interoperable. So being able to have a non-custodial DEX with an automated market maker that can trade different assets, right? So as a result, actually, our disclosure, we do know the team. They're part of our network and also in our private network and premium group. so just want to put that out there as a disclosure. We did have a call with them as well, just to kind of learn more about what they're building. Right now, there is no GitHub, so we couldn't really do a deep tech review. but we did what we could with the limited information we had, and also just from the documents we had with the team. Definitely worth keeping an eye on, just as a purely functional product. Not even just trading or buying the token, just using the product. I think it's definitely one worth watching, because we know this is one of the hottest spaces in the crypto market, is trading on a DEX, right? Especially for DeFi, right? So definitely keep an eye on this. And quite frankly, that's all we've really kind of had a chance to look into in depth. Let me just pull up one other thing we had here. Let me see if I can find it. Polkaswap. Sorry, Bill. Do you know any other projects on Polkadot that come to mind that you're pretty into?
Sir, I've got to defer to you on that.
Okay.
I'm keeping track of so many altcoins. My trading view, I got to hire somebody to organize it.
No worries. Okay, so here's the list. This comes from the Web3 Foundation. So these are teams building on Polkadot. So the ones that we were looking into, so we have, let me zoom in, we have Akala Network. Right, so this is kind of a stablecoin platform built on Substrate. One other one we're looking into, there's Darwinia, there's Ladder Network, Acropolis. Actually, I have met Anna in London, and she was also part of in our network. Yeah, so all these others are building, but right now they're all pretty early, I think, right? There isn't really anything that's really comes to mind. I mean, I see here Ocean Protocol, and okay, so these guys have kind of already launched, and so I would say maybe check into this as well. We do have a rating on this on Token Metrics, so do go check them out. And they were listed on Coinbase as well, so worth keeping an eye on. But for the most part, I'll just go to this list, right? So if you just search for teams building on Polkadot, Web3 Foundation, this will give you a good list. Some projects we already know, like Chainlink, ChainX, right? Energy Web Foundation has been pretty popular. Edgeware, worth keeping an eye on, just based on that they're building a WASM, basically WebAssembly smart contract. We did look into them, I believe, but there wasn't really much information to our knowledge. Yeah, this was the one. There wasn't really much information because these projects are still kind of pretty brand new, right? But definitely worth keeping an eye on. So would I value invest in any of these at the moment? No. But I mean, if you're looking for a very speculative trade, when these projects launch tokens, and you're looking at this purely as a trader, meaning that you aren't putting in your entire capital. So traders typically only put in maybe 1% of the portfolio, and you have good risk management. As purely a trade, these could be pretty interesting to keep an eye on. But as a value investor, maybe not so much. The only one that comes to mind maybe to looking into for value investing, maybe Ocean Protocol, but just kind of that one is kind of already launched. But yeah, so tell me, have I missed any other projects? Are there any interesting projects you like? Okay, I see people are talking about OM. Okay, I have been hearing about that one as well. All right, so tell us as well in the comments if there are any other projects that you think are pretty exciting on DeFi, on Polkadot. Actually, going down here, there are some more other projects. So these were just teams building on Substrate and Polkadot. Down here we have wallets, we have infrastructure, tooling, Polkadot implementations. Yeah, so this is pretty active forum, over 54,000 views. All right, so one other one comes to mind, going back to Polkaswap, Sora, right? XOR. So the same team that's building Polkaswap, they're also building. They also have a substrate, I believe, on Polkadot as well. So definitely keep an eye on that project as well. All right. Okay. On to the next question. Okay. All right. Ian, why are you bearish lately on Compound? Do you think it can ever hit $1,000? Okay, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm bearish. I was just saying when it launched, there was just too much hype, right? And when it's too much hype, so going back to the earlier comments I had, you want to buy from pessimists and sell to optimists. So when everybody was hopping on the bandwagon thinking this was going to the moon and beyond, I mean, that was a sign that there was too much hype, and textbook, it ended up coming back down to earth, and now you can possibly accumulate, right? So, I mean, technology-wise, Compound is solid. It's legit, right? So if you go to our ratings on Token Metrics, check out the ratings on Compound. It is solid technology-wise. Fundamentals are getting better, but technology-wise, it's good. It will be added to the technology index quarterly for value investors. I think by October or November. So whenever the next update on that is, it will be added because technology-wise it is good. But I mean, will it hit 1,000? That's the question I'll defer to Bill.
All right, let's take a look. Okay, so you know, my standard answer was to be pretty polite when someone would say, you know, I have $1,000 and how can I make 100x? And my answer normally is you can't, or don't try. So a lot of times when I get these things like, can Compound go to 1,000? After what just happened, if Compound went to 1,000, it could take like a couple years, maybe.
Wow.
Because it would have to be like something fundamental would drive it and drive it and drive it. Now, that said, Compound is essentially forming like a giant square. And I really think it's interesting that Compound recently like broke through the bottom of this like little square that it's making. And in technical analysis, when you break through the bottom and it fails and it comes back inside the formation, that the next move is that it would actually take out the top line. Okay. So, I mean, that puts Compound possibly back at 280. And it could mean Compound's just going to break 280 and just keep going. Right. But it's not going to be like these highly speculative moonshots like what you saw in August. Like when it goes up now, it's going to be because you have to earn it, not because it's just like a speculative wahoo.
Yeah.
The Compound does have the ability to go higher.
All right. So tell us what you think. Do you think Compound can get to $1,000, or do you think it's going to take a while? Right. Actually, let me see if I can pull up Compound here on my end. Let me just give me a second here. Now, because I feel like Compound is good, but lots of people do become prisoners of the moment. And I think when it launched, there was just way too much just interest, and they have kind of done well. But here, going to our price prediction model, obviously, note, this should only be used as a tool. This is not like financial advice. Price prediction models are not always perfect, especially when there's lots of volatility from black swan events. But looking at this, yeah, so it's been pretty new, just kind of trying to predict it. But our models have it going pretty much flat, pretty much going just staying flat around 123 or so. Now, the way to kind of look at this in terms of price prediction, this does update after every daily close because it's based on historical pricing. So best way to look at this is not to just look at the price here and come back a month later. I'll probably check it a few times a week, so probably 2 to 3 times a week, and just see how the price updates after every close, because that does then get used to predict out the next 1 month. Right, but for now, kind of like going based off of what Bill said in this, there's potential, but it could possibly kind of take a while to accumulate. So definitely just kind of keep that in mind. But as mentioned, tell us what you think about compound down in the comments below. Okay, all right. On to the next question. Okay. Good question here. How to use token metrics to better time the when you buy and sell, essentially. Okay, good question. So, okay, so we have two things we could look at, right? So, what most people probably are now using are the indices, right? So, if you just go to data indices, this is now the homepage on Token Metrics. You could kind of use this as to kind of figure out when to buy and sell. But I would say if you're looking to buy and sell, you're probably targeting a specific coin. And I would use the ratings we have, right? So if we go here, I'll just basically come here. Let me just reset my filters, right? So I would come here and look at, okay, if you're looking to know what to buy, here we have the overall grade. So in general, I would look at something in the top 5. So looking at this, right, just kind of gives you a picture as well. But in general, if you're trading, I would just filter out and only look at what's bullish and very bullish. All right, so I'd come here and kind of, as we mentioned earlier in the show, UMA bounced back, Celo bounced back, right? So all these cryptocurrencies are having green days, but the big gainers, Celo and UMA, UMA. And as mentioned earlier, if we go to UMA here, it basically dipped, I think 48, almost 50% in one day, right? It had the largest drop. This is after a Coinbase Pro listing. And then it bounced back. And to me, that tells me, okay, lots of people came in to buy because this is a pretty good project. I mean, this is not just some shitcoin, right? The fact that it got onto Coinbase after launching this year means that it's pretty solid, right? So if we just pull up here the TA, so the TA on this has turned bullish. Let's also maybe have Bill pull this up on his end, right? Yeah, so pretty much it went up, it came back and dipped, and now it looks like it's going up. It's had about two green days, 2 solid days. So that's one way I would use token metrics to find when to buy and sell, right? So going back to the ratings here to kind of go through this again, right? So if you're looking for what to buy, I'll just come here, add a filter, very bullish, and that gives you basically what, from a trading perspective, what's bullish, right? Then for what to sell, same thing, right? If you're holding something and the TA turns very bearish or bearish, I mean, that could be a sign to possibly take profits or get out, right? So kind of coming here, right? Pretty much lots of cryptocurrencies we have in the system are neutral or bearish, which means that our models right now are basically waiting things out. So with Ethereum, at the moment, our models, at least the TA, the technical analysis model, thinks Ethereum could possibly go lower. So if you're looking to buy, maybe hold off on that. Pax Gold, which is a cryptocurrency pegged 1-to-1 to gold, right now it's neutral, so it means kind of just wait it out, right? So if you have Pax Gold, wait and see whether it makes sense to get out, or if you plan to buy, wait and see for a more I would say for a more confident trend reversal. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I would use all of that for trying to find ways to trade. Bill, your take in terms of using token metrics to find when to buy or sell?
Okay, so let me pull it up. Okay, so I'm a little bit old school with token metrics. So I was using it before they came out with price prediction, right? Mm-hmm. Now, generally speaking, I've noticed that, the stuff in the top, like when Bitcoin dips, okay, when Bitcoin falls off the top pedestal, that's normally a signal to be a little bit concerned. Now, I think, after a 60% washout, I'm going to have to come up with a new method, right? So I checked this just to see where Bitcoin and Ethereum fall. Okay. Now, when I want to know what I want to do or what I want to buy and when, frequently I'll go to indices. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll look at the value indexes, right? If they come up here, I'll look at value and I'll say, like Cosmos is in the value indexes, and so is Binance Coin. I found that this morning. Okay, there's Binance, annual balanced value investor. And what I'll do is, if I see one coin in this index start to rally, like I think it's really, really interesting if you look at our annual balance portfolio, that there have been two coins in here that weren't doing much that lately have just surged higher. That's Cosmos and Binance Coin. Okay. Now, what does that tell me? That means we're entering an era where people are buying quality. And once they identify quality, the quality stuff can go up a lot. Not 100x, but it can go up a lot. All right. So when am I buying the Cosmos and the Binance or the Ethereums? I'm doing it when I see the value coins rally noticeably. Now, when do I get into my alts, or when do we get speculative? Okay. So if I go to, say, monthly price predictions, okay, and let's say I look at a bunch of coins in here and I go, well, I really like Kava, okay, and I really like reserve rights, but the amount of volatility that you've had in these particular coins, even if you go to the weekly, in other words, I'm going to want to have not everything down 60%, right? So the price prediction monthly seemed a little scary to me. So maybe I don't want to buy those coins. But check this out. When I go to trader price predictions, I'm seeing Polkadot, Compound, okay? Things yearn, things that have value, right? You know that they're solid. So if I start to see, like say today, you see Compound going up, you see Polkadot going up after, kind of a really big bottom. So I know this is not like, well, if A, then B. So I'm sure you've watched the show. If you've watched the show, you know that I'm the qualitative guy. So I like looking at the data and say, hey, what's working? And then figure out what's working and then doing more of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And if you want to try out Token Metrics, be sure to sign up. Go to tokenmetrics.com. We do have a paid discounted trial. You can try it out for as little as $2 for 1 week or $5 for 1 week, investor or hodler plan. Then we also have the professional plan if you want to have Bill, us, and the team in a private Telegram group, also with our bi-weekly investor calls as well, and just being able to have more access. So highly recommended. And oh, by the way, one thing I forgot, we also did add reviews on the site, so definitely do check that out. And yeah, thank you, Token Metrics family. Okay, all right, so okay, I think it's time for us to get to awarding the YouTube winner for the Token Metrics HODL plan. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can find them. If you want to find a tool to find, I know there's a tool to find a random comment. I want to find a random sub. Okay, so we have it for comments. Okay, how about this? Okay, here, we'll just end up doing this. Okay, so first of all, thank you, crypto family. As mentioned,
We just landed on the moon. And
we
the
have hit
Lambo.
10,000 subscribers on our YouTube, and we could not do this without you. So thank you, crypto family. It's been a pleasure. Bill and I and our team, we say thank you so much. So as a gift from us to you for all the support, we would like to give a random subscriber access to 12 months free of Token Metrics. That's 12 months free of Token Metrics hodler plan. So think of this as a gift, as a scholarship, right? For all the support. So I wanted to do this by picking a random sub, but it looks like it cannot do it. But here, what we can do is I think we can just do a random comment. So just give me a second. Let me do this here real quick. Okay, so I'm going to get the video we have here. So this should only be technically people on the live stream now, actually, even. All right, that could be one cool way of doing it. Okay, so I'm doing this live, so bear with me. Might be some technical issues. So let's see how this goes. Okay. Okay. All right. So, drum rolls, please. So we have the live stream. Let us get the comments. Oh, what? Okay. Comments have been disabled. Okay. Not sure why that's. Okay. I guess we cannot do that. Okay. How about this? I'll just randomly pick one on the stream. Okay. So let's take a look here. Okay, so let us pick. Okay, let's pick Benjay. Benjay, you have been awarded a Token Metrics hodler plan. Congratulations! Thank you for being subscribed to Token Metrics channel. So please contact us, and we'll take care of you. So contact us either info@tokenmetrics.com or just go to our Telegram group. And just contact us. Make sure to send a screenshot and everything showing that you are subscribed to the channel, and we'll take care of you. Not sure if you're already a subscriber. If you are, then maybe we'll just give you like an extra 1 year, or maybe we'll give you an upgrade. But either way, thank you, Benjay. Thank you, crypto family, as well, as usual.
We just landed on the moon.
Lambo. Bill, any comments to the winner?
Well, sir, congratulations. And it's our pleasure to be able to serve and help you, particularly in times like this. And who knows, maybe the data you get on Token Metrics will help change your life.
Yeah. So congrats, Benjay. Benjay has been a trooper, or is here on the live streams. Yeah. So contact us, info@tokenmetrics.com. We'll take care of you. Crypto family in the house, and thank you to all the crypto family out there. Okay, all right. So let's take, I think, one last question, then we can wrap up here. Okay, so people want us to take a look at Sushi. Okay, so this has been a pretty popular one. Okay, can you check Sushi price chart and fundamentals? Okay, I mean, fundamentals, there isn't really much to check at the moment, but we can check the price chart. Now, disclosure, I also do have some Sushi tokens. Now, I did not buy any. I just took my liquidity pool tokens that I had on Uniswap, and I just put them on there. I'm sorry, I just logged in with my MetaMask wallet, and I've been farming some, right? And that's kind of my stance when it comes to DeFi, or when it comes to yield farming. I believe it's better to just, I think there's less risk if you just earn it through yield farming as opposed to buying it on exchanges. So when it came to Yam, when it came to Sushi, when it comes to all these different DeFi pump and dumps, I don't think it makes sense to buy them on exchanges, because that's how you get wrecked. So I think if you already have an asset, then just stake it in the pool, right? And then even when you do that, don't put all your entire capital at risk. I mean, when I do it, I'm only putting in like 10 to 25% maybe at the most, and that's just kind of as a test, right? But definitely be cautious. With that being said, let's see what the TS says. Yeah.
No, this is really unbelievable. When I read this story, when I saw this flying around on Twitter, I'm like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Somebody's going to ask me, what do I think of this? Okay. So this is at a crossroads. All good trend lines normally have 3 points, right? So it looks like Sushi is bumping into some resistance here. Okay. And I don't know that I'd be paying $3 for something as controversial as this. I know that sounds strange, but I think there is a lot to like about this, in the sense that, you know, there's like a flash in the pan. Wow. The panic selling. Okay. But the thing is, are people going to come in and go, oh yeah, I want to own this? Like, I have Polkadot level conviction about Sushi. I'm guessing no, and I'm going to apply my 2019 model to Sushi, my altcoin model, which is don't buy it when it's going up. Okay. In other words, if it dips and you want to take a shot, great. But I think if you chase something like Sushi that's controversial, it might not be the way to do it. Now, hopefully, after I said that, it doesn't go directly to $50. Okay. But don't chase stuff that's controversial and ridiculously speculative.
Yeah, I mean, well said, well said. Now, somebody in the chat is saying Sam, who's the CEO and founder of FTX Exchange, is taking over. Yeah, so I did hear about that as well on Twitter. So it seems like the former developer has really just pieced out, sold the top, took $10 million, gave the key to now this other crypto exchange CEO to kind of now delegate ownership to him and a bunch of other people in the community. So I saw on Twitter he's taking nominations. Then the community will basically vote on who will also have access to the key. I mean, would I touch this long term? Hell no. But I mean, from a speculative trade, I'm kind of defer more to Bill with a TA, but I mean, looks like they're trying to solve the governance issues and dilemma that plagued them during their first initial launch. But I think what's going to happen in the space is somebody else is going to fork the same thing, right? Because we saw the same thing happen with like almost every project every narrative that's done well. So I would say 2 months back, we had the Ampleforth narrative where Ampleforth was going to be the next Bitcoin, right? But people had a problem with it being VC backed and having founder tokens and pre-mines. So people made their own version that had no VC issuance, no pre-mine, no founder rewards, right? And that was basically Yams, right? And now we've had Sushi, which is kind of doing the same thing, right? And I think this is now becoming a trend where any good project that launches with a good narrative, anybody can just fork it and open source the code, because the code is open source, and create the same thing, but with better rewards and incentives that go purely to the community. And now it becomes more challenging for projects to try to defend themselves, because now they really have to have good tech. But I think long term, the good projects will still win out because they have more backing, kind of as Bill mentioned earlier, they have more capital. So if we do have any corrections or even a bear market, they can weather the storm. But I think it is still pretty interesting that now anybody can just take any good project, fork it. Because same thing happened with Curve. Curve now has to compete with Swerve. Actually, great name, by the way, Swerve. Swerve Finance. They took the open source code. Actually, the code wasn't open source, but they had a roundabout way of kind of forking it and still not breaking any copyright law, apparently. but I think it's very, very interesting. Worth keeping an eye on. Actually, I have lost my train of thought already, but that probably means it's time to end the show. But with that being said, yeah, I mean, be careful out there. Don't get wrecked. Do your research. You have us. You have Token Metrics. You have Bill and I, Crypto Family. And with that being said, it's been great. Stay safe and hodl on. Okay. All right. So Bill, any last words?
Yes. If you need help, Token Metrics is a subscription service, right? If you need help, we can help you. Now, we could say that every week, but when it's mooning, people need one kind of help. When it's going down, people need another. And then if it's going up and down, which is probably next, that's another level of help. So we can provide all three. So come on over with us and we'll help you out if you need it.
All right. Thank you, Bill. And until next week.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Take care.
Oh man, what a stream. Okay, let's check in here with the comments and see how we're doing. Be sure to smash the thumbs up. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet already. Turn on the bell, the alerts. All right. Thank you. Thanks for your support and guidance, guys. Thank you, cool Simone. We appreciate it. Stake your sushi in our soy sauce pool, guys. Sounds like a good ad. Take the money and run. What's up, Mateo? Great stream. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Do you see potential for a crypto rewards credit card coming? To my knowledge, they're there. I think the cards that have launched have some kind of rewards. Yeah, so if you're farming it, risk is low. Yeah, absolutely. Love Token Metrics. Thank you, James. Appreciate it. Okay, yeah, so Benjay, be sure to contact us, info@tokenmetrics.com. We'll take care of you. Okay, let me just see if there's anything else we can answer real quick. Yeah, because we have way too many questions. Yeah, okay, we have lots of questions. So here, I'll just kind of freestyle and just kind of give my thoughts on the market again, because lots of people have been asking about this. Okay, here's one. So from the comments, hey Ian, how would a new trader use crypto metrics to find good trades? Okay, I think you mean Token Metrics. So we kind of have covered this about 20 minutes earlier in the live stream, but let me just kind of go big picture on you, right? So my perspective this week, I got up, I heard crypto was tanking. Actually, first thing was on Telegram, I saw in our private chat for professional customers, people in the trader chat, people were talking about prices dropping. And I'm like, what? And then people began asking about the indices, saying that, hey, we should sell, Ian. Hey, Ian, hey, team, do you guys think we should get out? And I'm thinking, why? Then I open up the indices and I'm like, they're down a lot. I'm like, oh, wow. Then I checked the prices for all crypto. Everything was down. Then I was like, why is it down? Then I saw that equities were down. And I'm like, damn, not again. Right? Because this happened during the pandemic. Basically, stocks crashed, Bitcoin crashed, Ethereum crashed, then altcoins crashed. And quite frankly, I am getting frustrated and tired with this, because the whole narrative is that crypto has no correlation with stocks and equities. But I mean, this year, that's gone completely out the window, right? I mean, almost to a point where we're now thinking of possibly maybe even adding some form of like S&P 500 index or something in our models and on our site, just to be able to track how equities are doing. Because if crypto is going to go if crypto is going to go down because of equities, we now have to kind of track it and keep that in our mind, especially on the platform, right? So, but big picture, we now have to kind of really figure out ways to avoid having this kind of losses, right? Because nobody likes taking L's. I mean, even when the market goes up 10x, 100x, nobody likes L's, right? So the question is, how do we mitigate this? So with our team, we have two ways we're thinking of doing this, right? And actually not thinking, but we are planning to do this, right? So two ways of doing it. The first way is changing the way we allocate the portfolio. So right now they've been allocated purely on grades, right? So for example, we take 10 cryptocurrencies and we allocate them. What we're working on now is called the black lit model in a way, right? So basically this comes from Litterman and Black, right? Basically they created this model for getting the market views and then also getting the views of an investor, basically a portfolio manager, to create a hybrid, basically a combined portfolio, right? Without giving away too much, all right? But the idea is, if we take all of the crypto market cap, right? We have Bitcoin dominance is at what, like almost 60%, right? So 60% of the portfolio would be Bitcoin, for example, right? So if you allocate your portfolio based purely on market cap, right? That's basically the market cap weights. So that's kind of the market portfolio. So that's kind of, but the issue with that is that it really doesn't, it assumes that it's a no more distribution, right? To kind of get technical with from a stats perspective, it assumes that it's a no more distribution, but the market has no more distribution, right? So what we do then is we take our ratings, right? Our proprietary Token Metrics AI ratings, and we use those as a subjective view to combine them with the market view to come up with a hybrid approach, right? To kind of mix the best of two worlds, right? So what does that give us, right? Actually, maybe I can even break this down for you guys to kind of show you the cool stuff we're doing, right? So let me pull this up here, right? So this is what our quant team is working on, right? And because we think this is what is needed to really take everything we have to the next level, right? So at a high level, this is it, right? So apologies to get somewhat technical, right? So we take, right? So this is kind of like the stats behind it. So we take one view and a different view, and we come up with a combined view, right? So this allows us to, so if I just fast forward through all this math, right? So we can use our views, the rankings. So in this case, it could be overall grade, it can be technology grade, fundamental grade, it could be price prediction, right? So we take those as subjective views to come up with a hybrid view that follows the black lit model that is really taking the most efficient portfolio. So taking a portfolio at the efficient frontier, right? And then applying our ratings and grades to it, right? So we can use that to then, right? So for example, this is kind of the data science behind it. So imagine this is a portfolio. So the regular approach follows mean variance, right? Then we take the black lit model, right? And this kind of redistributes the portfolio into cryptocurrencies that we think have upside, right? So it's kind of taking both the market cap view and our views and creating a hybrid. And if we have any portfolios that are basically negative, it means to short them. But right now the indices don't short anything because we think there's just too much risk trying to kind of put that in the indices and have people trying to short, right? Especially people who are brand new to crypto. So for now, we just completely take out the shorts and we redistribute that towards something else, right? Towards other cryptocurrencies in the portfolio, right? So to kind of go through this, right? So for example, right, let's say Bitcoin was 55% of the portfolio based on the market views or the mean variance weights, but now based on the black lit, now it becomes like 35%, right? So it's very, very interesting stuff. Our quant team has been working on this. This we think could really make the portfolio allocations even better, because right now, if we go to the indices, right now it's basically based on the grade, right? And while that's good, it's not the most optimum way, right? So we want to kind of create a new allocation. And so what does this mean to our customers? This means that going forward, the pie charts would be different once we launch this. Right now it's not launched. We're hoping to have this done by, I was saying in the next 1 to 2 weeks, right? Maybe even as early as end of next week, or actually end of this coming week. But the idea is, initially we'll still have 10 assets. Actually, I'm sorry. We might have 10 to 30 assets even, right? But probably not 30, probably less, right? It might end up being still 10, but the weights would be totally different, right? You could have some cryptocurrencies that have as much as 35%, for example, right? Or maybe even more, who knows? Probably not though, right? Because we think, especially in altcoins, if you have way too much, it might be too risky, right? But in general, right, this model combines 2 points of view to come up with a way to really view the market, and we think this is kind of the next evolution of the indices, right? So that's kind of one thing we're working on. The next thing we're working on is, in general, adding tail risk hedging, and we think this, while still, this is something that's really been used by institutions, right? Actually, there is a good video that I think would make sense to just kind of show, or maybe just have you guys go look into this, right? It's tail risk hedging. So this comes from Nasib Talib and Mark Spitznagel, if I can spell his name here. Right, but this guy's made a killing during the last pandemic. I'm sorry, during the pandemic crash. Right, these guys made like 4,000% returns, basically 40x when everything crashed. Right, so this is actually pretty cool. Let me just play the video here. Now,
the returns versus risk battle is the front line of investing. We all want higher returns with lower risk. But of course, the two are seen as a trade-off. Traditional asset allocation deals with this by striking a balance between risky and less risky assets, typically between stocks and bonds. Think of your portfolio as a pie. We can slice it into different pieces by these different allocations, the size of each piece representing its relative size in your portfolio. An allocation of 60% to stocks and 40% to bonds is a pretty standard, simple pie in the investment world. The idea behind this typical weighting, as you can see here, is that these two slices, stocks and bonds, balance each other in terms of their risk.
Okay, all right, so without having you guys go watch everything, but in general, the idea with tail risk hedging is you basically buy out of the money put options as a way to hedge versus black swan events, right? So events kind of like what happened with the pandemic in March, maybe even what happened with the crash this week, right? But the idea is to kind of get somewhat technical, right? Buying out of the money put options is kind of like buying insurance, right? Especially with us, since we're investing in altcoins, which are very, very risky and they can crash because they're very, very, very volatile. When they crash, you can basically buy insurance on that. And that insurance, you basically pay a premium, right? But for something that's not likely to happen, but if it does, the payoff will be huge and will compensate you for any losses and maybe even more, right? So for example, what we're kind of planning or thinking about and just doing some research on in general, for example, is let's say we have 98% of the portfolio allocated to the coins in the index. However, we take maybe 2% of the portfolio and we use that to buy out of the money put options on that index specifically, right? Saying that, okay, if this index, or maybe if any of these coins decrease, let's say 30% over this time frame, basically we are basically taking out insurance to get paid for that, right? Without kind of doing a course in options. But I mean, this we think could be a way to hedge for volatility and events like this. And if we can add that to the indices, that takes it to the next level, because now we're able to take more risk while still hedging, right? Obviously, hedging is not perfect, right? But we think it is one possible way to kind of help manage risk and the volatility of investing in altcoins, right? So for example, going back to the indices here, right? So let's say this is the price prediction. Let's go to price prediction monthly. All right. So as this pulls up, right? So this is the portfolio, right? So imagine we had out of the money put options, all right? So for 30%, right? So meaning that for Kava and reserve rights, we would have made money on it, right? So even though it went down, those put options would have made us money, compensating us for the portfolio, right? Compensating us for that decline. Now, the challenge, however, in crypto is that the options market is very, very brand new, and there isn't really much available. All right, so what we've kind of been looking into, synthetic exchange. So they do have options, right? So if you go here to the options market, and the options they have available are, they're limited, right? You have options for XRP, synthetics, Link. This is silver, Link, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, right? So very limited, right? So if we go to what's trading, Link and BTC, right? However, what our quant team is now kind of looking into is saying, okay, what if we could take our indices, find cryptocurrencies in them that have correlation to Bitcoin, and kind of put all those that have a strong correlation to Bitcoin into like this Bitcoin basket, and then buy out of the money put options as a hedge for any decline in Bitcoin, right? And then same thing, if we go through other cryptocurrencies in our portfolio that have strong correlation to Ethereum, then buying out of the money puts on that, and then making that, and then kind of having that as insurance, right? So those two could be a way to kind of mitigate that. But so right now the plan, we're still kind of trying to take care of all this, but maybe by end of the month, or maybe by next month, we could even kind of add a part of that to the indices, to the portfolio, where anybody can kind of go through and it will basically kind of tell you what out of the money put options to buy as a hedge, right? Now, obviously this is kind of getting more technical, right? So kind of like here, you have the index holdings. We could maybe add an extra line here that says Ethereum out of the money put options and Bitcoin out of the money put options, right? As a hedge, all right? So, hey, tell us what you think. Do you think this could be something pretty cool? Or do you think it's too advanced? Or do you think it's not the great idea? Or do you have a better idea on how to hedge? Right now, we definitely don't want to short, because when you short, I mean, you could lose a lot of money shorting, right? But with options, you're basically, you only lose the premium you pay, right? You only lose the fee you pay, right? And it's not much, right? And in terms of the volatility, we think it's a good way to kind of hedge, right? So, but definitely tell us what you think. So that's kind of what we've been up to. We think this could really take the indices to the next level, helping us kind of mitigate some downside risk. We also do plan to add more performance metrics and make them better. So stay tuned on that. But in general, going back to big picture, the market crashed and lots of people took L's. I mean, myself included, right? Because as mentioned, I had synthetics, I had reserve rights based on the indices, even traders. I mean, basically, most people lost money. But big picture, this is just the beginning, right? This bull run is not over yet. However, we should be cautious. And kind of as we've been saying for the last months, right? Hopefully, you took some profit off the table. And whether end of July or in August, when we kind of talked about that, because we want to buy from pessimists and sell to optimists. So when that happens, I mean, that's the best way, in my opinion, a value investor can make money, regardless of the market, right? You want to buy underpriced assets, undervalued assets, and to do that, you have to buy them at a discount. And to buy them at a discount, you have to buy when things are crashing. Now, that doesn't mean go out and buy everything at once, but I mean, that's when you have to start looking, right? And I think dollar cost averaging during corrections like that is really the best way to go, right? And I mean, obviously, nobody knows if this is a falling knife, or if it will keep on going lower, right? Right now, the models say that Bitcoin has kind of declined. Right now, the market is neutral or bearish. So kind of just be patient, wait it out. then stay tuned on the next live stream. We'll have more information. Also, if you're a customer, just watch out for our upcoming newsletters. Right, we'll kind of give you some guidance as well. Then, if you're on the professional plan, we'll have a call this Wednesday, and then we also do plan to have a customer webinar probably sometime this month. No date has been announced yet, but just keep an eye out on that. And yeah, I mean that's kind of it. Let me see what we have here in the comments. Was that list of cryptos weekly or monthly? So we have lots of indices. We have indices for everything. I went through both weekly and monthly. Okay, Cool Simone says, think the out of the money puts would be a great addition to Token Metrics. Very creative thinking. Thank you. We appreciate it. Okay, Benji says, we haven't truly bounced yet. Alts look kind of strong, but I think we go down further. Yeah, so we have to kind of be careful. I have to be careful. All right, with that being said, I mean, crypto family, it's been real. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you for 10K. Now we're going to 100K. We're taking everybody to the moon.
We just landed on the moon.
To the moon and beyond. And as we like to say, the moon is not the limit. To the moon and beyond. Thank you, crypto family. It's been real. It's been a pleasure as usual. See you next Sunday around 6 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll see you on the other side. Thank you. Life-changing money to a point where you can buy your mom and dad a brand new house, right? You can pay off your college loans. You can invest in your future, not have to work. Actually, hold on, sorry. Apologies. I saw Brown DeVille had a super chat. Didn't want to leave him hanging. Apologies, Brown DeVille. Okay, let's end with this. Okay, all right. So super chat from Brown DeVille. Thoughts on Tezos? Okay, so let me just pull that up real quick, then we'll wrap up the show. Okay, so pulling up Tezos here on Token Metrics. Okay, so I mean, right now it's okay, right? So fundamentals are decent, technology is good, TA could be better. If we go here to price prediction models, I'm not sure how the market has affected this. Okay, yeah, so the models have it going lower. Wow. Okay, have it going all the way up to 224. Okay, but I mean this is just one data point. I'll keep checking this every 2 to 3 days just to kind of see how it's doing, right? Because the market is pretty volatile. But here, if we go to ratings and just kind of see how it's doing, right? So Tezos. So right now, Token Metrics rank is 24. Market cap rank is 15. So this tells us right now it is overvalued. So I would not get into Tezos at the moment. It's kind of based on this. Ideally, you would like the Token Metrics rank to be higher than the market cap rank, right? So right now, probably not the best trade to get into. Actually, let's switch here to trader. Yeah. Even when we change to trader ratings, it's same thing, right? So just kind of based off of that, just kind of wait it out. Wait until the TA turns bullish or very bullish, then that would change as well. Right? Even for value investor, for somebody with a longer time horizon. But yeah, that's kind of that's our take on Tezos. With that being said, take care, stay safe, and thank you, crypto family. Life-changing money to a point where you can buy your mom and dad a brand new house, right? You can pay off your college loans. You can invest in your future, not have to work again, pursue your dreams, your passion, not have to have a job, work that 9 to 5 grind, right? Break the system, hack the system. This is what this show is all about.
They said relax but never retire. Feeling detached, never inspired. They told me relax but I can't retire. I'm feeling detached, never inspired. Like I would live on but never alive. You know the system, AM till 5. They try to say our jobs and give on. They living a lie. Now here's the mission, die or decide. You would die. The corporate life is so redundant when your freedom isn't free. It comes to being someone just believe that you can be. And how can I have hunger when they tell me when to eat? How can I lead others when they tell me who to meet? Then they tell me when to come and then they tell me when to leave. They say how much they give and then forget how much I need. It's the precious to succeed with the lessons of the greed. I question who to be and saw this messages in me. I gotta know.
Life-changing money.
I wanna work for myself. I gotta work for myself. I gotta go.
You can invest in your future, not
Raise
have to work
spirits to the
again.
moon, put nerves on the shelf. I gotta know.
Pursue your dreams, your passion.
I wanna stay free or want the safety. I gotta go.
Break the system, hack the system.
Although they paid me,
This is what the
they
show's
never
all
made
about.
me. I wanna relax, forever retire. I wanna detach, I'm feeling inspired. They told me relax, but I can't retire. I gotta detach, gotta decide. They got me thinking I would live on, but never rely. You know the system, AM till 5. They try to say your jobs and give on. They living a lie. Now here's the mission, die or decide. You or die now. Hey, I will never be a wage slave. I gotta stay made. Hey, I used to see this in the 8th grade. Wasn't a day late. Hey, I found the love that I was seeking, life that I'm leading. Hey, now I can do this every weekend, cause I'm a free man. I was in Tokyo, riding the job wheel, the rodeo, dancing with the devil for payment. I couldn't do, but I was driven. The mission gave me an open road. Made a decision to whip him like it's a motor show. 6-figure slave, I was paid, wasn't well though. Heard of crypto underground, it became my railroad. Started making earnest money, it's for whom the bell tolls. Went from wishing for sales closed to sales. Now I can relax, forever retire. Now I'm detached, forever inspired. Now I can relax, forever retire. I had to detach, had to decide. And now I'm thinking I can live on and not just survive. You know this system, AM till 5. They try to say our jobs and give on. They living a lie. I made a mission, die or decide. Do or die now. Crypto retirement, yeah, that's where my mind went. Started thinking higher, now they can't hire my time spent. No, not retire like 65 when your job ends. More like an island, and if I'm buy it, I buy it. Free travel, dealership, sweet dabble. I reign like Leeds Castle, you reign like Seattle. We went from sheep cattle to eating beef and mackerel at feasts. No lassos, just beliefs me in a saddle. You gotta know.
Like life-changing, like
You wanna work for yourself, you gotta work for yourself, you gotta go.
not have to work again.
Raise spirits to the moon, put nerves on the shelf, you gotta know.
Pursue your dreams, your passion.
You wanna stay free or want the safety, you gotta go.
This is what the show is all about.
Although they paid you, they never made you. No, we can relax, forever retire. Now we detach, forever inspired. Now we can relax, forever retire. We had to detach, had to decide. And now we know that we can live on and not just survive. We left the system, AM till 5. They try to say our jobs and give on. They live in a lie. We made a mission, die or decide. Do or die now.
I'm here to put you guys on and share all the different resources and tips I come across in my journey to making $1 million and making $1 billion, right? I'm trying to share this with the world for free. I'm not here to sell you some $2,000 course, ebook, webinar, whatever, right? I'm here to put you guys on the game for free, open source, right? The same model as blockchain, Bitcoin, or these cryptocurrencies. I'm here to share everything with you guys.
Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com. Disclaimer: Token Metrics Media LLC does not provide individually tailored investment advice and does not take a subscriber's or anyone's personal circumstance into consideration when discussing investments. Nor is it registered as an investment advisor or broker-dealer in any jurisdiction. Information contained herein is not an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any security. The Token Metrics team has advised and invested in many blockchain companies. A complete list of their advisory roles and current holdings can be viewed here at tokenmetrics.com/disclosure.